Chapter 416. Ning Fan had to admit that his luck was really good. Meeting Lei Shi and exchanging his useless lightning jades for many good items was really a fortunate thing. After entering the profound Yin world, he refined the primordial lightning and cold qi with the help of 100 times faster cultivation speed. In just half a day, Ning Fan left the world and his qi improved slightly. After refining the eternal emotions tier, Ning Fan's magic power increased by 1,000 units. The number of heavenly cold qi in his body had increased to 9 types. 1,000 units of magic power was just a drop in the ocean to Ning Fan, who had more than 600,000 units of magic power. However, there was another effect of the eternal emotions tier that satisfied him. The second-ranked heavenly cold qi had the miraculous effect of helping a cultivator to calm their mind and focus. After consuming it, Ning Fan felt his entire body become cool. When he cultivated, there was no sign of inner demons and his Tao heart was as firm as ice. No wonder this item was worth 500 million immortal jade. It was indeed worth it. 1,200 traces of primordial lightning were refined by Ning Fan. The first 500 traces of primordial lightning were refined into the primordial lightning armor, causing the silver light of the armor to become brighter. It had already broken through to the 4th level of the silver armor. The remaining 700 traces of primordial lightning helped the armor to break through to the peak of the 4th level. Traces of golden lightning began to appear on the armor. When all 1,200 traces of primordial lightning were refined, his armor was almost completely golden in color. Only 1 or 2 traces of silver lightning remained. If the silver lightning completely disappears and turns into golden lightning, this lightning armor would be able to break through the golden armor and defend against a void glimpse stage attack. Armor covering. On the desert, Ning Fan summoned his lightning armor with a thought. The primordial lightning armor could protect one's primordial spirit when it is not used. When it is summoned, it could protect one's entire body. With the faint golden lightning armor protecting his body, Ning Fan looked like a golden god. Golden lightning flashed around his body. When the golden light spread, it attracted countless undead spirits who were trying to attack him. The golden lightning was like a delicacy that lured the undead spirits to come to him. A trace of solemn killing intent flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He took a step forward and turned into a ray of golden lightning, starting a massacre. He rushed into the encirclement of the undead spirits. The least of them were at the nascent soul realm while the strongest ones were at the peak divine transformation realm. All of them activated their lightning magic techniques. Countless attacks, but none of them could break the defense of the lightning armor. As Ning Fan's sword sense swept across the area, groups of nascent souls were minced into pieces. He formed hand seals, and layers of black dragon tombstones pressed down, crushing countless dead spirits to death. His eyes were cold, as if he had returned to the trials in the Blood Sea. He opened his mouth and swallowed 17 bolts of primordial lightning, then put away 17 lightning jades with a flick of his sleeve. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He released his aura force along the way and dashed towards the lightning lord of the 5th floor. Along the way, more and more dead spirits followed the golden lightning. They tried to kill Ning Fan and seize the golden lightning. However, the price of greed was death. Streaks of black sword light spread out on the 5th floor. Many blood-colored lightning whips lashed at the soul formation undead spirits. There were more experts on the 5th floor than on the first 4 floors combined. After killing 100,000 nascent soul realm cultivators and 105 divine transformation realm cultivators, Ning Fan appeared outside a gigantic palace. In the huge palace, an old man in a dragon robe had a gloomy expression. He was the lightning master of the 5th level of the lightning tower. He had received several pieces of information that claimed that an undead spirit from the lower levels had broken into the 5th floor and was slaughtering everyone there. He also heard that the madman who killed people like flies possessed a secret technique called the golden lightning armor. The strength of the lightning armor was enough to defend against all divine transformation realm attacks. The life tablets of his subordinates who were sent to kill Ning Fan were shattered one after another. The eyes of the old man in dragon robe were filled with anger. When he sensed that Ning Fan had arrived outside the gigantic palace, he was so angry that he laughed instead. He slammed the table and rose to his feet. "Brat, how dare you? I didn't come looking for you, but you came to me yourself. Hand over the secret technique of the lightning armor and I will keep your corpse intact. Hand over the dark golden bamboo leaf and I will keep your corpse intact. You're courting death." Boom! The old man in dragon robe became even more furious. He took a step forward and the terrifying magic power of a void glimpse stage cultivator directly shattered the gigantic palace, leaving only a pile of rubble. His surging aura force turned into a golden lightning dragon and rushed towards Ning Fan. Looking at the incoming golden lightning dragon, Ning Fan did not dodge it at all. Instead, he allowed the lightning rays of the lightning dragon to engulf him. "Pumph! This is the consequence of resisting me," the old man in dragon robe sneered. He could tell that Ning Fan was just a half-step void refinement realm cultivator with just a glance. In his opinion, a mere half-step void refinement realm cultivator would certainly die if he was struck head-on by his golden lightning dragon transformation technique. The only pity was that he had to kill Ning Fan before he could interrogate him about his secret technique. However, before he could be complacent for too long, his expression suddenly changed. The boundless golden lightning rays that were attacking Ning Fan were weakening and disappearing at a terrifying speed. What exactly happened? Why did my golden lightning disappear? The old man in dragon robe was extremely shocked. His golden lightning dragon transformation technique was always effective against void glimpse stage experts at the same level as him. Why did such an anomaly happen today? Of course, he did not know that Ning Fan had condensed the Tai Su lightning star and possessed the Tai Su lightning diagram technique. Thus, he could devour lightning rays of the same level without suffering any damage. Ning Fan was not afraid at all in the sea of golden lightning. After devouring 105 traces of primordial lightning, his lightning armor had completely erased all the silver lightning and turned into a pure faint golden color. The grade of his lightning armor was already at the peak of the silver grade. It was not far from breaking through to the first level of the golden grade. He was just one step away from breaking through to the first level of the golden grade. The key to breaking through was to kill the old man in dragon robes and devour the lightning of his primordial spirit. Even if he had not broken through to the golden grade, the current strength of his lightning armor could almost completely defend against the old man's lightning attacks. Now that he was outside the sea of lightning, he would be unharmed even if he did not summon his natal star. As the lightning beneath his feet moved, a blood-red lightning diagram that stretched for 10,000 li unfolded like a scroll. At the moment the lightning diagram appeared, the golden lightning in the sky was completely devoured by it. The full-powered attack of the old man in dragon robes was completely broken just like that. Tai Su lightning diagram. The old man's heart was filled with deep shock. He finally understood why his lightning technique could not hurt Ning Fan at all and was devoured instead. The Tai Su lightning diagram could devour all lightning of the same level. After Ning Fan condensed his golden lightning armor, his comprehension of the Tao of lightning had already broken through the silver lightning grade and reached the golden lightning grade. The old man in dragon robes who also controlled golden lightning definitely could not hurt Ning Fan with his golden lightning. The Lightning Emperor once said that the one who possesses the Tai Su lightning diagram could become the lord of all lightning. Throughout my cultivation journey, my magic power has always been lightning. Even though my cultivation base is at the void refinement realm, all lightning power is restrained by this young man. Magic techniques and magic treasures can't hurt him at all. In that case, I can only rely on my physical body to determine the winner and loser. The old man sneered. His physical body was already at the 4th level of Jade Life Realm. With just his physical body alone, he could fight against a peak Divine Transformation Realm expert. In addition to that, he had an extremely high-grade body technique. It should not be difficult for him to suppress Ning Fan. The old man took a step forward and his physical body grew to 1,000 zhang. After taking 10 steps, his physical body had already grown to 5,000 zhang. He turned into a giant in dragon robes and walked towards Ning Fan, crushing mountains and rivers with each of his steps. When he breathed in the clouds, he had the momentum to devour mountains and rivers. When he slammed his palm down on Ningfan's head, it had the tremendous force to split mountains and overturn seas. Trying to suppress me with your physical body, huh? Unfortunately, you're too weak. Ningfan sneered. He stepped on the lightning diagram and his physical body grew taller. After taking 10 steps, he turned into a 5,000 zhang tall golden armor giant. You're actually also a body cultivator at the 4th level of Jade Life Realm. The old man was slightly surprised, but he did not think that he would lose to Ningfan. When the elderly man threw a punch, Ningfan also responded with a punch of his own. Both of them were at the 4th level of Jade Life Realm, but the moment they exchanged blows, the bones in the fist of the old man were shattered into pieces. A huge force shattered the bones in his arm and shook his chest, causing his giant body to be pushed back 100 miles. Only then did he manage to stabilize his body. However, he was already severely injured. On the other hand, Ningfan did not even take half a step back after throwing out a punch. The force of the elderly man's punch could not even break the defense of Ningfan's lightning armor. One punch. With just a single punch, the elderly man in dragon robes was able to determine the winner between him and Ningfan. His physical body was much weaker than Ningfan's. The strength of your punch is definitely at the pinnacle of the Jade Life Realm. No, it's even higher than the pinnacle of the Jade Life Realm. It's almost equivalent to a strike from a Golden Body Realm cultivator. You have a good eye. My fist strength is already infinitely close to a golden body. Ningfan's eyes were as bright as the sun and moon. With a single step, he crossed 100 li and caught up to the elderly man in dragon robes. Then, he threw out 100 fist shadows in one go. The sky darkened with a single punch. The 10 fists mountain shook. With 100 punches, the sky collapsed and the earth crumbled. After receiving 100 punches from Ningfan, all of the muscles and bones in the old man's body were crushed. His blood flowed like a river and flooded the wasteland. His breathing was weak and he was on the verge of death. His face was filled with fear. A dignified void glimpse stage cultivator was actually afraid of a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. If word of this got out, it would really be a joke. However, reality was cruel. His magic power was restrained by the lightning diagram and his physical body was weaker than Ningfan's. He had no chance of winning against Ningfan at all. You can't kill me. This old man is Su Longzi, the younger brother of the 24th floor's lightning lord, Ing Longzi. If you kill me, you'll be hunted down by the 10th floor's lightning tower. 24th floor's thunder lord Ningfan was still as indifferent as before. He was not affected by Ing Longzi's reputation at all. This scene turned into despair in Su Longzi's eyes. Su Longzi could already see that Ningfan would not be threatened at all. Even though his clan elder brother was the #1 expert among the Void Inquiry stage experts in the Lightning Tower, he still could not make Ningfan fear him. Despair eventually turned into madness. Su Longzi was also a powerful individual. If begging for mercy was not wrong, he could only fight Ningfan to the death. He muttered some incantations and 2 dragon horns slowly emerged on his head. His body shook and the lightning light turned into pieces of golden scales. When the golden scales spread, he turned into a 5,000 zhang large golden lightning dragon. His dragon eyes flashed with a hint of madness. By revealing his true form, he was going to risk his life to fight Ningfan. Dragon-breaking roar. Rays of golden light dragon roared and turned into golden halos that spread out and attacked Ningfan. Ningfan's eyes flashed with indifference. No matter how powerful this sound wave technique was, it was still the same as the essence of the golden lightning power. There was nothing to be afraid of. Ningfan's 5,000 zhang large golden armor giant took a step forward and the lightning diagram beneath his feet shattered into traces of blood-red lightning light. At the next moment, a massive lightning diagram condensed in Ningfan's palm. It was a 10,000 zhang long scroll. The blood-red lightning was the brush and ink. Ancient lightning runes were drawn on the scroll. The golden armor giant held the lightning diagram in his hand and swept it towards the golden dragon. The lightning diagram spread out and kept the golden dragon into the scroll. When the scroll closed, the lightning diagram turned back into a scroll and was held in the giant's palm. The golden dragon inside the scroll immediately let out a blood-curdling scream. Then, its screams gradually became softer. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with indifference. He opened the lightning diagram again and shook it. Traces of golden ashes were shaken out of the lightning diagram. Judging from the situation, Ning Fan had actually kept the severely injured Su Longzi into the lightning diagram and turned him into ashes on the ground. What a terrifying Tai Su lightning diagram! The Tai Su lightning diagram can be used for both offense and defense. If it's used for defense, it will turn into a formation that is placed under my feet. If it's used for offense, it will turn into a scroll that can capture all lightning cultivators in the world. With a single thought, it will turn them into ashes. This is the punishment technique that Lightning Emperor Tai Su used to control lightning in the ancient times. Even though this technique is powerful, it is only effective against lightning cultivators. Moreover, the cultivation level of the lightning cultivators killed cannot be too much higher than mine. With my current cultivation level, I can only use this diagram to kill lightning cultivators below the void refinement realm. I can't kill Su Longzi. However, Su Longzi has already been severely injured by me and is on the verge of death. Therefore, it's not surprising that he was kept into this diagram to be killed. With this diagram, I only need to beat the Void Glimpse stage lightning cultivators half to death and keep them into this diagram. Then I can kill all Void Glimpse stage lightning cultivators. After dispersing the golden armor giant body and keeping the lightning diagram, Ning Fan beckoned at the sea of blood and drew a golden primordial lightning into his hand. Then he refined it into his lightning armor. The faint golden lightning armor immediately turned pure gold. At this moment, it had completely broken through to the first level of the golden armor. At the same time, he also obtained a golden lightning jade and a dark golden bamboo leaf as his spoils of war. In this way, he had killed the lightning lord of the 5th floor and razed the 5th floor to the ground. This Su Longzi is quite strong. However, he is a lightning cultivator after all. Thus, he will be completely restrained by me. From the moment I condensed the Tai Su lightning star, I was already the lord of all lightning and could restrain all lightning cultivators. All the Void Glimpse stage lightning cultivators below the 10th floor are nothing to fear. The one I need to pay attention to is Su Longzi's clan brother, the lightning lord of the 24th floor, Ing Longzi. Since this Ing Longzi could become the lightning lord of the 24th floor, his cultivation base must be at the Void Inquiry stage. Moreover, he is probably an unrivaled being among the Void Inquiry stage experts. With my current strength, it is absolutely impossible for me to kill him. However, it is also impossible for him to kill me. I have the heaven-deceiving cloak and many other means. Even if I have to face Ing Longzi's pursuit personally, I will not suffer any injuries. Why don't I go all out and kill my way to the 24th floor in one go? As soon as this thought popped up in his mind, it was immediately extinguished by Ning Fan. He was still in a hurry to complete Hong Yi's mission to obtain 7 dark golden bamboo leaves and exchange them for a golden leaf to heal Yu Lingkong. Thus, he did not have the time to kill too many people. The dark golden bamboo leaves could also heal one's primordial spirit and save Yu Lingkong. However, after witnessing the dark golden bamboo leaves with his own eyes, Ning Fan realized that there were 2 difficulties that prevented him from using the dark golden bamboo leaves to save people. Firstly, with the medicinal power of the dark golden bamboo leaves, he would need at least 100,000 years old spiritual herbs. Those were immortal herbs that would only be used to concoct 7th revolution pills. Ning Fan did not have a single one of them. Secondly, the medicinal power of the dark golden bamboo leaves was too strong. It was not something that a void refinement realm cultivator could consume. Perhaps only a person with Hong Yi's identity would be able to get some 100,000 years old spiritual herbs to mix with the dark golden bamboo leaves. However, Ning Fan had some doubts. If this lady is just a void refinement realm cultivator, can she really endure the terrifying medicinal power of the dark golden bamboo leaves? I just feel that she seems to be hiding something from me. Forget it. I'm not interested in finding out what secrets this lady has. If she has nothing to do with Hong Hong, it will also have nothing to do with me. What I should be concerned about is to kill my way to the 7th floor as soon as possible. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. He took a step into the teleportation formation and entered the 6th floor. At the moment he entered the 6th floor, he immediately patted his storage pouch and summoned 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. After healing the injured spiritual puppets, he immediately went on a killing spree with all his might. As his techniques increased, Void Glimpse stage cultivators were no longer as scary as before. Below the 10th floor, he could do whatever he wanted. 3 days later, on the 24th floor of the Lightning Tower, a 6,000 zhang long yellow dragon with a pair of wings was entrenched in the lightning swamp. It seemed to be in a deep sleep. A black-armored guard knelt on the ground and reported something. At a certain moment, after hearing his subordinate's report, his eyes suddenly flashed with killing intent. Su Longzi is actually dead. Someone, go and investigate for me. Find out who did this. I want this person to disappear from the Black Lightning Tower forever. Your Majesty, there's no need to investigate further. I know who did this. In just a few days, the 1st floor to the 9th floor of the Lightning Tower has been razed to the ground. All of them were witnessed by some low-grade undead spirits. The murderer is this person. Swoosh! The black-armored guard opened a scroll which had Ning Fan's appearance. As soon as it saw his face, the 6,000 zhang yellow dragon narrowed its eyes and said coldly, "This person is the culprit? Very good. Pass my order. All the undead spirits below the 24th floor are to use all your strength to hunt down this evil being. No mistakes are allowed. Within 3 days, I want to see this evil being's head and offer it to my deceased brother's soul." Chapter 417. Within 3 days, Ning Fan was like a strong gust of wind that swept through the entire 9th floor. Killing, especially in this place where he had nothing to worry about, was not difficult at all for him. It was especially so in this place where lightning cultivators gathered. By relying on the lightning restraining divine effect of the Tai Su lightning diagram and the ferocious might of the 3 spiritual puppets that could slaughter Void Refinement Realm cultivators, even a Void Glimpse stage cultivator would die for sure. Ning Fan alone was enough to eliminate Su Longzi. With the addition of the 3 puppets, whichever floor they descend upon would be a calamity for that floor. There was only one Void Glimpse stage lightning lord on the 6th floor. After being besieged by Ning Fan and his 3 puppets, he was directly killed. There were 2 Void Glimpse stage experts on the 7th floor. However, they were still not Ning Fan's match and both of them were killed. On the 8th floor, 2 Void Glimpse stage experts were also killed. There were a total of 3 Void Glimpse stage experts on the 9th floor. One escaped while the other 2 died. From the 6th to the 9th floor, he had killed a total of 7 Void Glimpse stage experts. After a careful count, there were already 11 Void Refinement Realm experts who had died in his hands. 500 traces of Divine Transformation Realm Primordial Lightning and 7 traces of Void Glimpse stage Primordial Lightning fell into Ning Fan's hands. He also put away the silver and gold grade Thunder Jades. Perhaps he could use them the next time he traded with Lei Shi. With such a large amount of primordial lightning, his lightning armor could only advance 2/3 of the way to the 2nd level. He would need to kill at least 6 Void Glimpse stage experts or 600 Divine Transformation Realm experts before his lightning armor could advance to the 2nd level. Even if he had yet to break through to the 2nd level, the defense of this lightning armor was already extremely terrifying. No Void Glimpse stage cultivators below the 9th level could break the defense of this lightning armor at all. Ning Fan already had 9 pieces of dark golden bamboo leaves in his hands. It was more than enough to complete Hong Yi's mission. According to the intelligence, there were a total of 4 Void Glimpse stage experts guarding the 1st floor of the Lightning Tower. 4 Void Glimpse stage experts. Even Ning Fan was not willing to take the risk. At this moment, he was already prepared to leave. However, when he looked at the Thunder Sound Jade in his hand, he realized that Lei Shi still had not contacted him. He could not help but feel a little disappointed. It seemed like he would not be able to trade with Lei Shi again before he left. Originally, he was prepared to use the useless lightning jades to exchange for some treasures from Lei Shi. After all, Ning Fan was not a void refinement realm cultivator. He was just relying on Kulei and his spiritual puppets to fight. If he is besieged by too many void glimpse stage experts, even he would not be able to win. Having made up his mind, Ning Fan returned to the lower level. Then, at that moment, in the sky, a black mass of escaping lightning rays shot toward them with undisguised murderous intent. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. There were at least 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators, and 10 of them were at the Void Refinement Realm or above. The Void Refinement Realm experts on the 9th floor should have already died. Without a doubt, these experts were all from the 10th floor and above. How dare you? How dare you attacking Long's brother? You're courting death. The Void Glimpse stage cultivator in the lead was none other than the Lightning Lord of the 10th floor of the Lightning Tower. He released his overbearing aura force, which turned into a sky-piercing gigantic mountain that pressed down on Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He immediately understood that these experts had come for the Lightning Lord of the 4th floor, Su Longzi. The 24th floor's Lightning Lord. Ing Longzi. This person is really powerful. He actually sent out such a large force just to deal with Ning Fan alone. He actually managed to make so many Void Glimpse stage experts acknowledge him as their king. One of the experts unleashed his aura force to suppress Ning Fan while the other experts displayed their secret techniques one after another. All of them attacked Ning Fan's primordial spirit with their secret techniques. All of them were techniques to attack one's nascent soul. Facing the joint attack of 10 Void Refinement Realm experts, even the Tai Su lightning diagram could not devour all the lightning. Seeing that Ning Fan could not fight against so many experts with just 2 fists, the 10 Void Refinement Realm experts were certain that Ning Fan would definitely die. However, at this moment, a black cloak suddenly appeared on top of Ning Fan's white robes. His figure disappeared right before the eyes of countless experts. Impossible! This young man is clearly just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Why is his concealment technique so strong? Even us Void Glimpse stage experts can't find his whereabouts. Rumor has it that the reason why this young man could sweep through the first 9 floors was because he had 3 Void Glimpse stage spiritual puppets. His own strength is not worth mentioning. Now, it seems that it is definitely not the case. This young man's techniques are extremely difficult to deal with. However, just this concealment technique alone is enough to make us unable to find him. We must search for him even if we can't find him. Otherwise, how are we going to explain this to King Ying Long? The group of Void Glimpse stage experts wore grim expressions. They tried several magic techniques to break Ning Fan's concealment technique, but none of them could find him at all. The heaven-deceiving cloak was of the profound divinity grade. It could even block Void Fragmentation Realm Spirit Sense. How could 10 Void Glimpse stage experts find Ning Fan? They could not find Ning Fan's whereabouts, but they had an idea. A large group of them guarded the teleportation formation connecting the 9th floor to the 8th floor tightly, waiting for Ning Fan to walk into their trap. While this large group of experts was searching for Ning Fan, he had already fled 1 million li away. His eyes were filled with intense killing intent. Even though this group of experts could not find him, they had sealed the path to the lower floors. As such, unless Ning Fan kills all 10 Void Glimpse stage experts, he would not be able to leave the Lightning Tower. Ing Longzi, you will definitely regret not letting me go. Ning Fan's traveling light did not move towards the teleportation formation of the 8th floor. Instead, he moved towards the teleportation formation of the 10th floor. He was not going to leave. He was determined to teach Ing Longzi a lesson. With so many experts descending to the lower floors, the defense of the 10th floor would certainly be weak. The massacre began. While countless experts were guarding the path to the 8th floor, the 10th floor was plunged into a bloody calamity. The Lightning Lord of the 10th floor only brought a Void Glimpse stage expert with him to the lower floors. Other than the 2 of them, the other 8 Void Glimpse stage experts were experts of the 11th floor and above. There were only 2 Void Glimpse stage experts left on the 10th floor. They were looking after the dark golden bamboo leaf on behalf of the Lightning Lord of the 10th floor while discussing something. The topic they were discussing was actually related to Ning Fan. That madman dared to kill King Ing Long's younger brother. He was really courting death. I'm afraid he is already dead by now. Since the Lightning Lord is personally taking action, how can he not win? Unfortunately, we can't participate in the mission this time. Otherwise, if we can kill that Ho with our own hands, we will certainly make a great contribution in front of King Ing Long. King Ing Long is the strongest Void Inquiry stage expert in the Black Lightning Tower. It's just a matter of time before he attains the Void Peer stage. Once he attains the Void Peer stage, he will certainly be the strongest expert in the first 36 floors. If I can befriend an expert of this level, what's the harm in chasing after a half-step Void Refinement Realm expert? While the two of them were chatting and laughing, a series of miserable cries and sounds of battle suddenly resounded from the outside world. All the smiles on their faces froze. The two of them roared in shock and anger. Who is so audacious to come to my 10th floor and cause trouble? The 10th floor was the strongest floor in the first 10 floors. No undead spirit had ever dared to come here and cause trouble. In a flash, the two of them flew out of the palace and scanned their surroundings coldly. They wanted to see what kind of audacious madman was bold enough to come here and court death. As soon as they saw the intruder, they could not hide their astonishment. They saw a figure in white robes and golden armor coldly walking through the mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Wherever he passed by, he would attack aggressively, killing countless undead spirits. Beside him, the 3 black-robed spiritual puppets were also killing their enemies coldly. With the 4 of them working together, there was not a single nascent soul realm or divine transformation realm expert who could stop them at all. Ning Fan's eyes were cold. His baleful chi covered the sky. Within that baleful chi were the terrifying chi left behind by 11 Void Refinement Realm experts who had died. When Ning Fan's gaze swept across the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts, their hearts were invaded by the baleful chi and they could no longer remain calm. This madman was obviously surrounded by 10 Void Refinement Realm experts and 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm experts. How did he manage to escape from their encirclement? 11 people. There's no mistake. This man has already killed 11 Void Refinement Realm experts. This young man is extremely dangerous. Retreat quickly and meet up with the Lightning Lord. The two of them wanted to escape, but it was too late. The divine star on Ning Fan's glabella flashed and the lightning diagram spread out, covering all the undead spirits within it. His killing intent had already been triggered. As soon as he gave the order, the 3 puppets surrounded the 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. 1 hour later, the entire place was left in ruins. Ning Fan stood on top of the 2 Void Refinement Realm corpses and devoured 2 traces of blood lightning. His eyes then shifted to the teleportation formation on the 11th floor. The 11th floor might be dangerous, but why would he be afraid? Besides, it seemed like Lei Shi was still on the 11th floor. He wondered if he could still buy primordial lightning from him now. On the 11th floor of the Black Lightning Tower, Ning Fan's deeds spread across the entire Lightning Tower at a terrifying speed. He destroyed all 10 floors of the Lightning Tower with his strength alone. Even though he was surrounded by 10 Void Refinement Realm experts, he still managed to escape openly. Even some Void Inquiry stage old monsters would not dare to belittle his reputation. The Myriad Treasure Pavilion was a certain force on the 11th floor of the Lightning Tower. The master of this force was the famous master of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, Lei Shi. This Lei Shi had a strange temperament. Even though he was strong, he seemed to be at odds with the Lightning Lord of the 11th floor. He had never befriended any Void Refinement Realm experts of the Lightning Tower. His only hobby was to do business, earn lightning jades and devour lightning jades to improve his cultivation base. Even though he usually haggled over a lightning jade with others, he was definitely the wealthiest cultivator on the first 24 floors. At this moment, in the main hall of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, Lei Shi was fiddling with a golden lightning abacus. He had a wretched smile on his face while calculating the number of primordial lightning he had just obtained. Chu Nanfeng, this old man, contributed 1,700 traces of Divine Transformation Realm Primordial Lightning and 4 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning. Mo Feiyun contributed 3,000 traces of Divine Transformation Realm Primordial Lightning and 7 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning. Old Man Yang contributed 2,500 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning and 5 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning. And Lei Shi's face lit up with excitement. This time, after returning to the 11th floor, he had purchased a total of 10,000 traces of Divine Transformation Realm Primordial Lightning and 35 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning. If he sells all of these Primordial Lightning to Ning Fan, he would be able to earn a lot of money. In the main hall, the 5 early Void Refinement Realm experts wore strange expressions. All of them were the guest elders of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. They were none other than Chu Nanfeng, Mo Feiyun, and the others whom Lei Shi mentioned. They could not understand why the pavilion master would go through so much trouble to collect such a large amount of primordial lightning. To undead lightning cultivators, these primordial lightning were trash. They really could not understand why the pavilion master would need this item. Pavilion master, may I ask what exactly is the magical use of this item? Chu Nanfeng asked hesitantly. Magical use? How would I know what this lousy item is used for? However, I only know that this item can be sold for money. It won't be difficult to sell it for 400 to 500 silver jades. How can this trash be sold for such a high price? What kind of person would be able to afford 500 silver jades? Could it be that he is also a Void Inquiry stage old monster? Mo Feiyun asked doubtfully. He's not a Void Inquiry stage expert. He's just a half-step Void Refinement Realm expert. However, this half-step Void Refinement Realm expert is a little unusual. Even I feel that he won't be easy to deal with. Lei Shi sighed. Pavilion Master, you must be joking. How can there be a half-step Void Refinement Realm expert who can resist a Void Inquiry stage old monster in this world? Old Man Yang shook his head and refuted. However, he suddenly stopped talking when he recalled the rumored fanatic who swept through all 10 floors of the Lightning Tower. That person also seemed to be a half-step Void Refinement Realm expert. He had swept through all 10 floors on his own. The reputation of that person made even ordinary Void Glimpse stage experts fear him. No, the rumor must be false. There is certainly no such powerful half-step Void Refinement Realm expert in this world. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would never believe it. Old Man Yang was unwilling to believe it. The rumor might not be false. An arrogant and forceful voice suddenly resounded from outside the door, interrupting Old Man Yang's words. This voice carried the aura force of a mid-Void Refinement Realm expert. Surprisingly, it belonged to a Void Inquiry stage old monster. His aura force was even much stronger than Lei Shi's. Lightning Lord. Old Man Yang, Chu Nanfeng, Mo Feiyun, and the others immediately rose to their feet and stared at the newcomer with vigilance. Even Lei Shi's eyes turned gloomy and he said with displeasure, Zhu Feng, why are you here? I heard that you have been collecting primordial lightning wantonly. How ridiculous! What's the point of collecting this kind of trash? Zhu Feng mocked. You didn't answer my question. Lei Shi's eyes became even colder. I came here just to take away your immortal Emperor Lightning Bone. Zhu Feng smiled sinisterly. Why should I give it to you? Lei Shi acted as if he had heard something ridiculous. If you don't hand it over, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion will be destroyed. This is King Yinglong's order. You should know the consequences of disobeying him. I'll give you 1 day to think about it. After 1 day, I hope to hear a satisfactory answer. Zhu Feng sneered and left swiftly, leaving the experts in the hall with a solemn expression. Lei Shi's eyes turned gloomy. The feeling of being threatened was very unpleasant. While everyone was silent, a subordinate suddenly rushed into the main hall anxiously. His forehead was full of sweat. Pavilion Master, be bad news. What's wrong? What happened this time? Lei Shi said with displeasure. He's here. The subordinates seemed to have seen something extremely terrifying. "Who's here?" Before Lei Shi could get a rough idea of what was going on, a white-robed young man entered the Myriad Treasure Pavilion lightly at the next moment. "Fellow Taoist Lei, how have you been? Have you collected all your primordial lightning? This time, I've brought a lot of money with me." As soon as Ning Fan appeared, he released a trace of ferocious aura force. Everyone in the hall was shocked. 13 traces of void refinement realm baleful chi. This young man has such a strong aura force. Is he really a half-step void refinement realm expert? It's him. Wasn't he being hunted down in the lower 10 floors? Why did he come to the 11th floor? Chapter 418. On the 11th floor of the Lightning Tower, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion was a well-deserved superforce. The pavilion lord, Lei Shi, was a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator, and he had 5 Void Glimpse Stage experts under him. With so many experts around, no one had ever dared to break into the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. The Lightning Lord of the 11th floor, Zhu Feng, naturally had no one who dared to stop him with King Ying Long's influence. However, Ning Fan was just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator. How could he pass through the heavy defenses of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion and enter the main hall? Chu Nanfeng, Mo Feiyun, and the other 2 Void Glimpse Stage experts suddenly stood up with cold eyes. They recognized Ning Fan as the person whom King Ying Long was pursuing with all his might. This person had slaughtered all 10 floors of the Lightning Tower all by himself. He was a ferocious devil lord. Ning Fan's baleful chi disappeared in a flash, making the 5 of them doubtful. They felt that they were mistaken. Was it an illusion? Could it be that terrifying baleful chi was just an illusion? This young man is just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator. It's impossible for him to kill 13 Void Refinement Realm experts with his own hands. It must be like that. Rumor has it that this young man has 3 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. The baleful chi on his body must be from the puppets in his hands. He is just a Divine Transformation Realm cultivator after all. As long as he doesn't have time to summon his spiritual puppets, there's nothing to fear about him. With that thought, the 5 of them felt relieved. They could not help but look down on Ning Fan a little. They did not know why Ning Fan trespassed into the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. However, judging from his words, he seemed to be here to make a deal with Lei Shi. If that's the case, this person doesn't seem to be an enemy. With the pavilion lord here, no matter if Ning Fan is an enemy or a friend, they do not need to deal with him. I have just collected some primordial lightning and have yet to contact you with the Thunder Sound Jade. However, you came to my Myriad Treasure Pavilion before me. What a rare guest. Lei Shi put down his golden abacus and looked at Ning Fan meaningfully with a grin. Little friend, you really hid your strength well. You actually managed to sneak into my Myriad Treasure Pavilion without making a sound. I really admire you. Excuse me. Ning Fan smiled faintly. He did not continue the topic of the heaven-deceiving cloak and sat on a seat at the corner of the hall. Seeing that Lei Shi and Ning Fan seemed to be friends, Chu Nanfeng and the other 4 Void Glimpse Stage experts became even calmer. It seemed like Ning Fan did not have any ulterior motives towards the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. He just came here to purchase primordial lightning. The doubts in his heart had been answered. So, the reason why Lei Shi hurriedly returned to the 11th floor and spent so much effort to purchase primordial lightning was just to sell it to Ning Fan? Strange, truly strange. No matter how he looked at it, he was just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator. With such a cultivation base, how was it possible for Lei Shi to treat him politely? How was it possible for him to escape from King Ying Long's relentless pursuit? This young man is just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Even though he has 3 Void Glimpse Stage spiritual puppets, he still has no chance of winning against a Void Inquiry Stage expert and 5 Void Glimpse Stage experts. Why was he so calm? He sat alone in the dangerous Million Treasure Pavilion. Was he not afraid? Are you all very interested in me? Ning Fan sensed the faint spirit sense of the 5 of them. His sword sense shook slightly and repelled their spirit sense. Then he said with a smile. The expressions of the 5 Void Glimpse stage experts changed. The method Ning Fan used to repel their spirit sense was undoubtedly his sword sense. Besides, the strength of his spirit sense was not any weaker than a Void Glimpse stage cultivator. Don't be impatient. Little friend Zhou is my guest. Lei Shi glared at the 5 of them. Even he, Lei Shi, felt that Ning Fan's qi was erratic and he found it hard to see through him. If his 5 subordinates could detect Ning Fan's cultivation base, it would really be a miracle. My servants are not very sensible. I apologize for my rudeness. Little friend, are you here to buy primordial lightning? Today, I have prepared 10,000 traces of primordial lightning. I wonder if little friend has brought enough money with him? Lei Shi grinned at Ning Fan again. While he was asking, he sniffed the air gently with his nose. As soon as he sniffed, his eyes lit up. So many lightning jades. It seems like the rumor about little friend slaughtering the 10 floors of the lightning tower is probably true. 10,000 traces of primordial lightning? Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged, but his heart was slightly shocked. He needed at least another 300 traces of primordial lightning to advance his lightning armor. Even though he came to the Million Treasure Pavilion to buy primordial lightning, he did not expect that Lei Shi would actually have so much primordial lightning in his possession. 10,000 traces of primordial lightning were completely enough for his lightning armor to break through to the 2nd level of the golden grade. It might even advance to the 3rd level. Every trace of primordial lightning represented the life of a divine transformation realm undead spirit. If Ning Fan collects 10,000 traces of primordial lightning by himself, he would certainly need to kill 10,000 divine transformation realm undead spirits. He would need to kill at least 50 to 60 floors of the lightning tower in order to gather such a large amount of primordial lightning. This was obviously unrealistic. Inwardly, Ning Fan pondered. If Lei Shi really has 10,000 traces of primordial lightning, the origin of these 10,000 traces of primordial lightning was certainly not from slaughtering undead spirits. Most likely, they were left behind by the divine transformation realm undead spirits who had died in the lightning tower in the past countless years. That's right. I have gathered 10,000 traces of primordial lightning. I will sell it at the price of 30 traces of primordial lightning per jade and give little friend a discount. 300 silver jades. What do you think? Lei Shi rubbed his hands excitedly. 300 silver jades. The expressions of the 5 Void Glimpse stage experts changed. As Void Glimpse stage cultivators, each of them only possessed 100 silver jades. The lightning power contained in 300 silver jades was almost the total wealth of 3 Void Glimpse stage cultivators. They could not believe that a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator like Ning Fan would possess so many lightning jades. Moreover, they could not understand why Ning Fan would purchase a pile of useless primordial lightning at such a sky-high price. What they did not know was that the primordial lightning that was useless to undead spirits was the best tonic for Ning Fan to cultivate his lightning armor. Deal. Ning Fan spoke indifferently. In just an instant he had ended this huge transaction. The final decision was made. Lei Shi took out hundreds of jade boxes that contained primordial lightning and handed them to Ning Fan. Ning Fan, on the other hand, paid 300 silver jades. The entire transaction was done without any hesitation. Chu Nanfeng and the others could not help but click their tongues. It was such a huge transaction, but Ning Fan did not even bargain. What a bold and decisive man. Their contempt towards Ning Fan faded a little. At least, they knew that they did not have such a bold and decisive man. Ning Fan kept the primordial lightning. Once he leaves the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, he would devour primordial lightning to upgrade his lightning armor. Lei Shi kept the 300 silver jades. His heart was burning with excitement. After devouring these silver jades, his magic power would increase by a lot. Everyone was satisfied with the transaction. I wonder if fellow Taoist Lei still has any other good items. It's rare for me to come to the Myriad Treasure Pavilion this time. I still have quite a lot of spare money with me. I want to buy some more treasures. Ning Fan still had 10 golden jades and 800 silver jades. These lightning jades were useless to him. Thus, he was naturally willing to exchange them for some treasures from Lei Shi. Lei Shi's gaze darkened. He was usually perverted, but he was still very dignified during crucial moments. I wouldn't dare. Chu Nanfeng smiled bitterly. How would he dare to disobey Lei Shi's order? Don't worry, this old man knows what you're thinking. Isn't it just embarrassing to lead the way for a junior? Don't worry, this old man won't let you be the only one embarrassed. Little Yun, little Yang, and the two of you, go together. The five of us will show little friend Zhou around the treasury. Lei Shi said firmly. What? The expressions of Mo Feiyun, old Yang, and the others changed. 5 Void Glimpse stage experts were leading the way for a Divine Transformation Realm Junior. Weren't they giving him too much face? No, that's not right. The 5 of them gradually understood what was going on. Lei Shi ordering the 5 of them to lead the way for Ning Fan did not seem to be as simple as treating him generously. Yes, that must be the case. Lei Shi was afraid that Ning Fan would steal something, so he ordered the 5 early Void Refinement Realm experts to keep an eye on him. But how is this possible? Is it really necessary to use 5 Void Refinement Realm experts to keep an eye on a Divine Transformation Realm Junior? Is Ning Fan really that powerful in Lei Shi's eyes? The 5 of them looked at Ning Fan, who was skinny and weak. They did not believe that Ning Fan could steal something under the nose of a Void Glimpse stage old monster. There was a mortal void realm formation inside the gold grade treasury. The light of the formation could seal the magic power of spiritual puppets. Even though Ning Fan had 3 Void Glimpse stage spiritual puppets, he could not use them in the treasury. With Ning Fan's half-step Void Refinement Realm strength, would he need 5 Void Refinement Realm experts to keep an eye on him? Probably not. Chu Nanfeng alone is enough. Is the Pavilion Master making a big fuss over a minor issue? Without giving them a chance to refuse, Lei Shi left in a hurry. He was probably going to retrieve the immortal Emperor Lightning Bone. Chu Nanfeng and the other 4 old monsters exchanged glances with each other. Even though they could not bring themselves to lead the way for a junior, they did not dare to disobey Lei Shi's order. They sighed inwardly. It's better to let the 5 of us lead the way for this junior. It's better to lose face together than to lose face alone. Little friend, we will lead you to the gold grade treasury to have a look. With the Pavilion Master's order, as long as you have enough lightning jades, you can sell anything that catches your eye, even if it's a forbidden item. Forbidden item? Ning Fan asked doubtfully. To us undead spirits, there are many spiritual items and treasures that living people can devour and control. However, we can't use them. If we eat or use them incorrectly, we might suffer serious injuries from the backlash. For example, the frozen cloud garlic. This item has the effect of healing injuries to living people. However, it is a first-class poison to us undead spirits. Once we consume it incorrectly, it will cause great damage to our bodies. All of these items are listed as forbidden items by the Pavilion Master. Normally, we won't sell them to undead spirits who don't know what they are. The Pavilion Master often says that undead spirits love money and they get it in the right way. The Pavilion Master won't sell immoral money. Really? Ning Fan nodded his head slightly. This Lei Shi is rather interesting. Don't sell poisonous items to the undead spirits and don't make a fortune. Is this his principle of doing things? However, why did they sell it to Ning Fan? Did he have confidence in his judgment, or did he realize that he was a living person? I don't know. However, this Lei Shi is really cautious. He sent 5 Void Glimpse stage experts to keep an eye on me. In that case, I have no choice but to give up on my plan to rob his treasure vault. It's also good to have a transaction where the goods and money are settled once in a while. The gold grade treasury was heavily guarded by undead spirits. As soon as these undead spirits saw Ning Fan, a stranger, approaching the treasure vault, they immediately raised their magic treasures and were on high alert. When they took another look, they realized that there were actually 5 Void Glimpse stage elders beside Ning Fan leading the way. Immediately, all of the experts kept their magic treasures and felt deep veneration towards Ning Fan. Inwardly, they were guessing what kind of distinguished identity Ning Fan, who was just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator, actually has to be able to make 5 Void Refinement Realm experts lead the way. What a great honor! Could it be that Ning Fan is a cultivator of the high-grade Lightning Tower? A late Void Refinement Realm or even peak Void Refinement Realm background? When they thought of this, none of them dared to look at Ning Fan disrespectfully anymore. They immediately made way for Ning Fan and his group, allowing them to enter the treasure vault. The treasure vault was divided into 4 floors. On the first floor, there were many pills and magic treasures. All of them were treasures that Void Glimpse stage cultivators would use. On this floor, there was a low-grade mortal void formation light. By borrowing the power of lightning, it could greatly restrain a cultivator's magic power. It was even more effective against corpse refinement puppets. Before entering the formation light, Chu Nanfeng forced out a smile and introduced the treasure vault. The gold-grade treasury is equipped with layers upon layers of formations which can restrain all puppets to death. It is also quite effective against undead spirits like us. The treasure vault is divided into 4 floors. On the first floor, there is a low-grade mortal void formation light. Even for a Void Glimpse stage undead spirit like me, my magic power will be restricted by at least half. About this? There are some things that little friend should pay attention to. Chu Nanfeng's tone was slightly hesitant. Fellow Taoist, you don't have to hesitate. You can tell me directly if there is anything that I need to pay attention to. Hee. It's not that I'm looking down on fellow Taoist. However, fellow Taoist only has a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivation base. I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand the formation light here. Before entering the formation, it's better for you to consume a protective pill to increase your defense. So, fellow Taoist Chu is worried about this. Don't worry. Even though my cultivation base is weak, a mere formation light won't be able to hurt me. You don't have to consume the pill. Ning Fan glanced at the pill and his eyes flashed with a strange expression. To an undead spirit, this pill was indeed a protective pill. However, to a living person, it was a poison. He was a living person. Of course, he would not be willing to consume poison. Seeing Ning Fan refuse to consume the pill, Chu Nanfeng wore a faint smile on his face, but inwardly he was a little displeased. He was kind enough to give Ning Fan a protective pill, but Ning Fan rejected him arrogantly. Could it be that Ning Fan really thinks that he can withstand the mortal Void Realm formation light with his mere half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivation base? When he suffers some injuries, he will certainly know how powerful this formation light is. Then he will understand that I'm doing it out of kindness. Chu Nanfeng let out a cold snort inwardly. However, on the surface, he still put on an apologetic smile and continued. It's fine if fellow Taoist refuses to accept the pill. However, if you get injured, it's definitely not my business. There's one more thing that I must remind fellow Taoist. Just now, I've told you that the formation light here can restrain all spiritual puppets. Even though fellow Taoist has 3 Void Glimpse stage spiritual puppets with you, you must not summon them in the treasure vault. Otherwise, the formation light will judge you as a thief and kill you. Is that so? I'll keep this in mind. I won't summon my spiritual puppets in the treasure vault. Ning Fan nodded his head. He had already given up on the idea of robbing the treasure vault. Thus, he naturally would not summon his spiritual puppets to fight them. Besides, he was not worried that the 5 Void Glimpse stage experts would lure him into the formation and plot against him. This formation used the power of lightning to restrain the magic power of cultivators. Since he had condensed the Tai Su lightning star, he was naturally not afraid of the formation. He also had the heaven-deceiving cloak. If he insists on leaving, no one below the void fragmentation realm could stop him. Thus, he did not need to worry about his safety. Alright, since little friend has said so, I feel relieved. Little friend, please. Chu Nanfeng took the lead and stepped into the first layer of the formation light with a single step. Immediately, the formation light swept towards him and turned into sizzling lightning. As soon as he was electrocuted, his body shuddered and his aura force was rapidly suppressed. In just a few breaths' time, his magic power was actually suppressed by nearly 30%. Mo Feiyun and the others also stepped into the formation light one after another. Each of them had 30 to 40% of their magic power suppressed. The stronger one's magic power was, the lower the suppression would be. Even with the vigorous magic power of Void Refinement Realm cultivators, it was unavoidable for them to have 30 to 40% of their magic power suppressed. If ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivators enter the formation light without taking protective pills, their magic power would be completely sealed and they would be severely injured by the formation light. The 5 Void Glimpse stage experts entered the formation one after another. All of their gazes fell upon Ning Fan. Chu Nanfeng, in particular, wanted to see Ning Fan's appearance when he was injured by the backlash. Young people were always very self-righteous. After suffering a setback, they would know that the advice of their seniors was unpleasant to the ears. Old Chu, this young man is the Pavilion Lord's guest after all. Even though he is a little arrogant, we can't really watch him get injured. Once this young man suffers from the backlash of the formation light, we will just let him suffer a little. Don't let him die in the treasure vault. Mo Feiyun transmitted his voice to Chu Nanfeng to remind him. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. How can I leave him in the lurch? I'm just weakening his spirit as a young man. It's also for his own good. Chu Nanfeng gently shook his head. He was not a narrow-minded person. The gazes of the 5 old monsters were all focused on Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a strange expression. With his intelligence, he naturally saw through the thoughts of the 5 of them. Aren't these 5 old monsters too bored? They are actually waiting for him to suffer from the backlash of the formation light. They are destined to be disappointed. Ning Fan took a step into the formation light. The sizzling golden lightning immediately pressed down on him, as if 1,000 mountains were falling down. The tremendous momentum was enough to suppress all divine transformation realm beings. Unless they are Void Refinement Realm beings, no one would be able to withstand the lightning in this place. Lightning flashed on Ning Fan's glabella. A vast aura force rose in his eyes and he shouted, "Get lost!" With just that one word, all the golden lightning bolts in the sky hurriedly retreated as if they were afraid. None of them dared to attack Ning Fan. At this moment, Ning Fan was like the lord of all lightning. None of them dared to hurt him. An ancient and vicissitude aura force spread out from Ning Fan's eyes and inadvertently swept across the 5 Void Glimpse stage experts. All of a sudden, fear towards Ning Fan rose from the depths of the souls of the 5 lightning cultivators. They could not understand. They could not understand why Ning Fan, who was just a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator, was unscathed after entering the mortal Void Lightning formation. They could not understand. They could not understand why the aura force of Ning Fan's gaze was so strong that the 5 Void Glimpse stage experts did not dare to look at him directly. All of a sudden, none of them, including Chu Nanfeng, dared to look down on Ning Fan anymore. Not only that, when Ning Fan's gaze swept across the 5 of them, intense fear rose in their hearts. This young man is very dangerous. It's very necessary for the Pavilion Master to send the 5 of us to keep an eye on him. Chapter 419. At that moment, the might of Tai Su's lightning made Chu Nanfeng and the other 4 old monsters who were lightning element undead spirits feel fearful towards Ning Fan. Their faces turned slightly solemn. After bringing Ning Fan around the treasure house, they became more vigilant, afraid that Ning Fan would plunder the treasury. Ning Fan did not care about their feelings. He stepped into the formation light and his eyes wandered around the first floor of the treasure house. The first floor of the treasure house was an incomparably spacious hall. There were grooves on the 4 walls of the hall which contained many treasures. All of them were protected by formation light. Without a token, one would not be able to take them out. The treasure house was divided into 4 floors. The items that were displayed on the first floor were usually used by Void Glimpse stage old monsters. Ning Fan's eyes scanned across the 4th floor and gradually exclaimed in surprise. This myriad treasure house really has a lot of good items. There were low-grade mortal void magic treasures, low-grade mortal void cultivation methods and magic techniques, Low-grade 6th revolution pills and pill recipes. Unfortunately, most of these magic treasures had been damaged. Most of the cultivation methods and magic techniques were incomplete. Only a few of them were still intact. All of them were meant for undead spirits to cultivate. Living people could not cultivate them. As for 6th revolution pills, Ning Fan also did not expect that there would be such high-grade pills in this place. Unfortunately, each of these pills had been stored for countless years. Their medicinal properties had been severely depleted and some of them had even deteriorated. If one were to consume them, not only would their effects be weak, they might even harm themselves. The Black Lightning Tower was a tower of undead spirits. Rumor has it that the undead spirits in this tower were all dead cultivators of a certain era and place. There were also some undead spirits that were transformed from the lightning beasts of the later generations. Most of the magic treasures and pills in the tower came from ancient times. Naturally, they could not be used anymore. The undead spirits in the tower could not be brought out of the tower either. They could only live in a strange state here. Ning Fan fell into deep thought. He seemed to have heard about the strange existence of the undead spirits in the Black Lightning Tower before. I remember now. Old ancestor Dong Su once said that Thunder Sovereign Bu Zhou used the White Lightning World Treasure to open up the Thunder Sovereign's tomb. There seemed to be undead spirits in the tomb as well. As for the Thunder Sovereign himself, he seemed to have become one of the undead spirits, living in a state where he was neither dead nor alive. Thunder Sovereign Bu Zhou probably used the experience of the Black Lightning Tower to imitate the undead spirits in this place. Speaking of which, Hong Yi once said that the void-pierced stage ferocious beast guarding the entrance of the Black Lightning Realm was set up by the Thunder Sovereign. The Thunder Sovereign has indeed come to the Black Lightning Tower. Perhaps the Thunder Sovereign had also passed through the Tai Su's 3 questions before. However, he definitely did not manage to pass the trial completely. At most, he had passed the second trial. In the inheritance of the Tai Su Lightning Star, I could feel that I was the first person to condense this star after the Thunder Emperor. From a certain point of view, my aptitude in the Tao of Lightning is slightly higher than that of the Thunder Sovereign. Ning Fan withdrew his thoughts and scanned through the 6th revolution pills again. These pills had lost their medicinal properties. Thus, they naturally could not arouse his interest at all. However, the 6th revolution Dan formula made his eyes brighten. There were hardly any dead spirits in the Black Lightning Tower who knew how to concoct pills, let alone a 6th revolution pill master. Therefore, this 6th revolution Dan recipe had never experienced any battles and almost no one fought for it. Apart from a few missing parts, there were still 11 or 12 pill recipes that were perfectly preserved. The prices of these pill recipes were pitifully low. 1 silver jade could buy them, but no dead spirit had ever bought them. If these pill recipes were to be leaked out of the rain world, they would certainly fetch a sky-high price. Low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe, Floating Life Pill. Floating life is like a dream, the heavenly Tao is like smoke. This pill is a low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe. It can conceal one's chi, deceive the heavenly Tao and conceal the heavenly tribulation. If a cultivator consumes one of these pills, he or she would not be disturbed by the heavenly tribulation when breaking through to the void glimpse stage. Low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe, Life-Prolonging Pill. A single pill can prolong one's life by 1,000 years. This pill is a low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe. It can increase the lifespan of a void refinement realm old monster by 1,000 years. This pill is really powerful. The strongest longevity pill I have ever seen could at most extend one's lifespan by 300 years. If I succeed in consuming this pill, I'm afraid not only void refinement realm experts but also void fragmentation realm experts in the rain world will have to beg me for a pill. A lifespan of 1,000 years can change too many things in one's life. Low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe, Void Glimpse Pill. The void is ethereal, one can perceive it by consuming this pill. This pill is a low-grade 6th revolution Dan recipe. It can help a cultivator perceive a trace of the power of the void, increasing his or her chances of breaking through to the void refinement realm by at least 10%. Even I can use this pill recipe. Ning Fan's heart was burning with excitement, but his eyes remained calm. After glancing at the other treasures indifferently, he turned around and casually bought the complete pill recipes one by one. He used a dozen pieces of useless silver-grade lightning jades to buy more than 10 types of priceless pill recipes. Ning Fan made a profit once again. Of course, in the eyes of Chu Nanfeng and the other undead spirits, Ning Fan was just wasting his money. They could naturally tell that Ning Fan was not a sixth revolution pill master. Besides, even if Ning Fan was heaven-defying and had sixth revolution pill refinement realm, as an undead spirit, he could only stay in the Black Lightning Tower and was not allowed to go out. There were not many precious spiritual herbs in this place which could be used to concoct any sixth revolution pills. What's the use of pill recipes? Could it be that this young man really likes to buy rubbish? Chu Nanfeng, Mo Feng and the other old monsters began to criticize Ning Fan inwardly. They had the same thought as Lei Shi in the past. We have finished looking at the first floor. Fellow Taoist, are you willing to go to the second floor to have a look? After witnessing Ning Fan's strength, Chu Nanfeng's tone became much more polite. He addressed Ning Fan as fellow Taoist. Vaguely, he already had the intention to treat Ning Fan as his peer. Of course, I will go. Ning Fan nodded his head and followed the 5 old monsters to the second floor. The formation light of the second floor was already at the mid-grade mortal void realm. Its destructive power was more than a few times stronger than the first floor. Even Chu Nanfeng and the other void glimpse stage old monsters had no choice but to consume some protective pills. If they don't consume the pills and enter the second floor without permission, their magic power would be suppressed by more than 90%. When facing a ruthless person like Ning Fan whose magic power was suppressed by 90%, the 5 of them would not be able to defend themselves at all once Ning Fan goes berserk and kills someone. Even though Chu Nanfeng and the other old monsters had consumed protective pills, they still could not help but feel a little sluggish after entering the second floor. As for Ning Fan, he secretly activated the Tai Su lightning might. After entering the second floor, he only gave them a cold look. None of the lightning rays dared to pressure him. The 5 void glimpse stage old monsters became even more shocked. They could still understand why Ning Fan could ignore the first floor of the formation light as if it was nothing. After all, a void inquiry stage old monster like Lei Shi was also immune to the first floor of the formation light. However, even Lei Shi would have a lot of his magic power suppressed after entering the second floor. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was not affected by the formation light at all. Perhaps only old monsters like King Ing Long who were about to break through to the Void Pierce stage could barely do this. Could it be that this Zhou Ming has been hiding his true strength? Could it be that his true strength is comparable to King Ing Long? This thought rose in the minds of the 5 old monsters at the same time, and it was hard for them to get rid of it. They had heard rumors about Ning Fan. He had slaughtered everyone on the first 10 floors of the Lightning Tower and killed Su Longzi, the younger brother of King Ing Long. He had completely offended King Ing Long and was chased by the experts of the 24th floor. At first, when they heard the news, they just dismissed it with a smile, thinking that Ning Fan was a new expert who had just advanced to the next level. He would certainly die for offending King Ing Long recklessly. Unexpectedly, when they saw Ning Fan with their own eyes today, they finally felt that Ning Fan's means were extremely powerful. Perhaps Ning Fan had been hiding his true strength. Perhaps Ning Fan was strong enough to rival King Ing Long. Perhaps Ning Fan himself was a Void Inquiry stage old monster or even a Void Pierce stage expert. Void Pierce stage old monster was a respectful title for late Void Refinement Realm experts. It was not difficult for a Void Pierce stage expert to fight 10 Void Inquiry stage experts alone. If this Zhou Ming is a Void Pierce stage old monster, it won't be difficult for him to wipe out my myriad treasure pavilion alone. Even if he isn't a Void Pierce stage expert, I'm afraid that he is not far from it. No wonder the pavilion master is so afraid of this person. This person cannot be provoked. When he thought of how he had spoken rudely and offended Ning Fan just now, Chu Nanfeng immediately broke out in cold sweat. No matter if Ning Fan was a Void Inquiry stage expert or a Void Pierce stage old monster, He was definitely not someone Chu Nanfeng could afford to provoke. Fellow Taoist Zhou, please forgive me if I have offended you before. Chu Nanfeng suddenly stepped forward and cupped his fists to apologize. There was a faint look of fear on his face. Fellow Taoist, you must be joking. It's just a small matter, there's no need to take it to heart. With Ning Fan's intelligence, he could naturally tell that Chu Nanfeng was afraid of him. He was afraid that Chu Nanfeng had misjudged his strength because he was immune to the lightning formation. He did not explain, nor did he intend to incur the wrath of the Million Treasure Pavilion. He just casually waved his hand to dispel Chu Nanfeng's fear, and his gaze lingered on the second floor again. Chu Nanfeng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Ning Fan did not have the intention to pursue the previous matter. Then, he began to introduce the hidden treasures of the second floor to Ning Fan with even more enthusiasm. The second floor of the treasury was different from the first floor. The palace on the second floor was only a third of the size of the first floor, and the collection was much smaller. However, the treasures here were much more precious than the first floor. All of the magic treasures on this floor were at the mid-grade mortal void realm. Moreover, there were even 1 or 2 magic treasures that were still in perfect condition. Ning Fan was slightly tempted by these magic treasures, but he did not buy them. To undead spirits, undamaged magic treasures were priceless items. An undamaged magic treasure was priced at 500 silver jades or 5 golden jades. Ning Fan was not prepared to spend his money on magic treasures. He did not lack magic treasures. He had an immemorial divine weapon. As long as he has the right opportunity, it would not be difficult for his divine weapon to upgrade. Besides, with his current magic power, he was still unable to use mid-grade mortal void magic treasures. Therefore, he just took a glance and did not pay too much attention to it. However, some of the cultivation methods and magic techniques in this place made him feel a little tempted. Among the few complete magic techniques, one of them was a mid-grade mortal void realm body technique. If Ning Fan can learn it with his current body refinement realm, he would even be able to kill a void glimpse stage old monster with his physical body. Unfortunately, this body technique was the most difficult to cultivate. Moreover, it emphasized on one's foundation. One would need to cultivate it steadily and steadily, using a long period of time to cultivate it to perfection. Ning Fan roughly estimated that with his innate potential, he would need at least 100 years to cultivate this technique in the outside world. If he borrows the cultivation speed of the profound Een world, which was 100 times faster, he would probably need more than a year to cultivate it. How could he have so much time to spend on a single body technique? Ning Fan shook his head and did not buy this body technique. Instead, he scanned through the pills and the pill recipe. All the pills were still destroyed. As for the pill recipe, there was only a mid-grade 6th revolution healing pill called BNK pill. This pill recipe was created by an ancient pill master. It had a miraculous effect in treating injuries on the skin, meridians, and bones. As long as a void inquiry stage old monster was still alive, it could cure all their injuries. Even though Ning Fan's pill refinement mastery was still far from reaching the mid-grade 6th revolution, he naturally would not miss such a good pill recipe. Ning Fan quickly browsed through the second floor. Then, he followed the 5 old monsters up the stairs and entered the third floor. The formation light of the third floor had already reached the high-grade mortal void realm. Chu, Mo, and the other old monsters almost activated all of their defenses before they dared to enter this floor. Even so, their magic power was still suppressed by 90%. This time, even if Ning Fan entered this floor, he would not have an easy time. The Tai Su lightning star was immune to lightning of the same level as him. However, the lightning of the formation light here was obviously much stronger than Ning Fan. Even with the Tai Su lightning star, Ning Fan could not fight against a void pierce stage old monster. Naturally, he could not withstand the formation light of this place. With Ning Fan's cultivation base, his magic power was suppressed by 30% when he entered this place. Even so, Chu Nanfeng and the other old monsters were already extremely shocked. Judging from the weakening of his qi, this Zhou Ming only had 30% of his magic power suppressed. Could this person really be a void pierce stage old monster? Even if King Ing Long comes here, his magic power would also be suppressed by more than 50%. King Ing Long is already a peak existence among the Void Inquiry stage experts. This young man is actually stronger than him. If he isn't a Void Peer stage expert, what else could he be? A feeling of astonishment rose in the hearts of the five of them. Their reverence towards Ning Fan had also risen to the peak. Ning Fan did not care about the five of them. His eyes were completely attracted by the treasures on the third floor. The treasures contained in this place were too precious. Among them, there were even a few immemorial divine weapons and immemorial star iron. There were also many fiend god cultivation methods in this place. Most of the fiend god cultivation methods in this place were passed down by the fiend gods of the ancient times. They were far less profound than the yin-yang transformation and fu-li cultivation methods. Thus, Ning Fan naturally did not care about them. However, when his eyes scanned through the divine weapons and star iron, he suddenly felt as if his horizons had been broadened. The immemorial divine weapons displayed here were labeled as one-star divine weapons. However, one of the pieces of immemorial star iron on sale was two-star divine iron. Suddenly, Ning Fan realized that the immemorial stars were divided into different grades. The star iron that was labeled as two-star divine iron obviously contained more star power than a one-star divine iron. Its sturdiness had already far surpassed that of a one-star divine iron. Ning Fan peeked into his sea of consciousness and found that the four immemorial divine weapons that were being nurtured in the divine stars were all one-star divine weapons. Only the Separation Slayer sword had a small amount of star iron that reached the standard of two-star divine iron. The small amount of two-star iron was probably obtained from sea wuxia. As for the rest of the star iron, they were all one-star divine weapons. A one-star divine weapon could be said to be indestructible against cultivators below the divine transformation realm. However, once a cultivator reaches the void refinement realm, each and every one of their abilities and magic techniques would have the power to destroy heaven and earth. Even a one-star divine weapon could not guarantee that it would be indestructible. Only a two-star divine weapon could remain unscathed in a battle between void refinement realm cultivators. Ning Fan's gaze fell upon that piece of two-star divine iron. His eyes gradually burned with passion. If he buys this piece of divine iron and refines it into his magic treasure, it would certainly greatly increase the power of his immemorial divine weapon. In the Black Lightning Tower, undead spirits could not cultivate the immemorial fiend god veins. Immemorial divine weapons and cultivation methods were also extremely cheap. They were merely around 10 pieces of silver-grade lightning jades. Ning Fan no longer hesitated. He bought all the immemorial divine weapons and fiend god cultivation methods in this place, including that piece of two-star divine iron. He spent a total of 200 silver jades. Even though a one-star divine weapon and ordinary fiend god cultivation methods were not necessities to Ning Fan, these items were also priceless in the outside world. Thus, it was not a loss for him to buy them. Seeing Ning Fan spend a huge sum of money to buy a pile of trash, Chunan Feng and the other old monsters could not help but praise Ning Fan's generosity. They had already firmly believed that Ning Fan was a void peer stage old monster. Moreover, he was also a wealthy man. Therefore, no one criticized Ning Fan for spending money recklessly anymore. The palm-sized piece of two-star divine iron was probably only enough for him to upgrade his Separation Slayer sword. Even so, Ning Fan was still in a good mood. However, when he went around the third floor, he felt a little disappointed. On the third floor, there were only 2 to 3 types of high-grade 6th Revolution pill recipes. Moreover, all of them were incomplete ancient items that were not worth purchasing. Other than the two-star divine iron, Ning Fan did not seem to have any other gains on the third floor. He wanted to head to the fourth floor. However, Chunan Feng and the other old monsters no longer dared to enter the fourth floor. The formation light of the fourth floor was at the peak mortal void realm. With their weak cultivation bases, if they enter the formation light, they would either die or be severely injured. Spying on Ning Fan? They are just 5 void glimpse stage experts. What qualifications do they have to spy on a void-pierce stage cultivator? A void-pierce stage cultivator could easily destroy the myriad treasure pavilion alone. He could also flatten all 24 floors without breaking a sweat. If Ning Fan insists on robbing the treasure house, who can stop him? Ning Fan has void-pierce stage strength. Why would he need to steal? All he needed to do was ask for something, and even Lei Shi would have to give him face. Lei Shi dared not to give King Ing Long face because he was not a void-pierce stage expert. If he is a void-pierce stage old monster, would Lei Shi dare to offend him? Our cultivation bases are weak. Thus, we won't enter the 4th floor. Fortunately, the 4th floor isn't that big. Fellow Taoist can enter on his own. We can just watch from the outside. Chu Nanfeng and the others smiled awkwardly. All right. Ning Fan could tell that the formation light of the 4th floor was powerful. Thus, he did not force the 5 of them to enter. Even with his lightning star ability, 70% of his magic power was suppressed when he stepped into the 4th floor. The 4th floor was also the top of the treasure house. It was only several tens of zhang in size. There were no magic treasures, cultivation methods, pills or pill recipes displayed on the floor. On the contrary, there were other good items displayed on the floor. On the left side was a piece of golden lightning jade that contained lightning. A black-grade lightning jade could only be obtained after a void fragmentation realm undead spirit dies. However, there had never been a void fragmentation realm expert in the lightning tower. The highest cultivation base of an absolute void stage old monster was just at the peak void refinement realm. After an absolute void stage old monster dies, the lightning jades they left behind would contain a hint of black within the gold. A piece of lightning jade was priced at 20 golden jades. Ning Fan could not afford it and he would not buy it either. He was not an undead spirit. A half-black lightning jade was useless to him. His gaze swept across the floor on the right side and he was slightly surprised. There were a total of 14 inheritance crystals placed on the floor on the right side. These inheritance crystals were perfectly sealed. Perhaps they were left behind by some experts before they died. However, the inheritance crystals had another drawback. Undead spirits could not use them. Ning Fan had no idea what was inside them. Even so, the price of each inheritance crystal was not cheap. One inheritance crystal cost 50 silver jades. Buying these memory crystals was equivalent to a gamble. You don't know what is inside them. Perhaps what is passed down inside them are just the last words of some old monster before he died. There is no cultivation method inheritance. However, since the lightning jades were useless to him, he was extremely willing to buy these crystals. With his eyes as a living person, he wanted to see what was inside them. He reached out his hand, intending to take those crystals. All of a sudden, a strange and obscene voice resounded behind him. "Little friend, you are indeed a living person. You are the same as that Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. Both of you are cultivators who entered the lightning tower from the outside world, am I right?" Ning Fan turned around and saw Lei Shi behind him. He was holding a sealed jade box with yellow teeth and a meaningful smile on his face. "I have underestimated fellow Taoists' eyesight. You're right. I am indeed a living person. Compared to you, an undead spirit, I am a different species. Are you going to kill me?" The atmosphere instantly turned heavy as if he would attack at any time. However, at the next moment, Lei Shi burst into laughter again. "Whether you are a living person or a dead person, what does that have to do with me? When I do business with others, I only care about money. That's all. However, since you are a living person, it's even better. Just now, I went to take an item. To an undead spirit, only a few of them can use it. However, to a living person, this is a priceless treasure. I'm afraid fellow Taoist will really want it." As soon as Lei Shi finished speaking, he slowly opened the jade box in his hand. All of a sudden, a terrifying lightning might force spread out from the jade box. The aura force was as heavy as 1,000 mountains, as if it was going to crush heaven and earth. There was only a finger bone inside the jade box. This finger bone was priceless. This is an immortal emperor's finger bone. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with astonishment for the first time. Chapter 420. Ning Fan couldn't hide the shock in his heart. It was all because this finger bone was too precious. The first step of cultivation was the 7 realms. Even a void fragmentation old monster was only at the 7th realm of the first step and had yet to become an immortal. After becoming an immortal and entering the 2nd step of cultivation, there were 3 realms. With Ning Fan's current knowledge, he only knew that the first realm of the 2nd step was the life immortal realm. It was divided into the human profound realm and the ghost profound realm. The 2nd realm of the 2nd step was the perfected immortal realm. The perfected immortal realm was further divided into 3 realms. The first realm was the transcendence realm, the 2nd realm was the renunciation realm, and the name of the 3rd realm was still unknown. Above perfected immortal, there was still the 3rd realm of the 2nd step. Only immortals who were at the peak of the 2nd step and were invincible in the 4 heavens were worthy of being called immortal emperors. This bone was not the void fragmentation realm finger bone of Bone Sovereign, but the bone of the strongest immortal in the 4 heavens. If this finger bone were to spread to the Rain immortal world, it would probably cause countless void fragmentation realm old monsters to go on a killing spree. Moreover, there would be countless immortals who would risk violating the law of heaven to descend to the lower world in order to obtain this finger bone. It would be fine if he had never seen this bone before. Since he had seen this bone today, he was naturally determined to obtain it. If he refined this bone into his body, Ning Fan's eyes turned serious and asked indifferently, "How much is this bone?" He believed that since Lei Shi had taken out this bone, then Lei Shi had the intention to sell it to him. Otherwise, there was no need for Lei Shi to do this. However, from Ning Fan's point of view, this Lei Shi was an unscrupulous merchant after all. It was impossible for him to sell the immortal emperor's finger bone to him at a low price. It was perfectly normal for profiteers to hoard goods and raise prices. If Lei Shi asks for a price that is too high, Ning Fan will have no choice but to rob him. He was not a person who would do business according to the rules. "Young friend, your eyes are a little scary. This old man doesn't even dare to bid anymore." Lei Shi closed the jade box and gave Ning Fan a meaningful look. He was not a fool. It was just that he did not know Ning Fan's identity as a living being. That was why he allowed Ning Fan to take advantage of him without realizing it. Now that he knew Ning Fan's identity as a living being, he naturally understood that Ning Fan was the one who really benefited from the deal they made earlier. With his intelligence, he could naturally see Ning Fan's determination to get the phalanx. If he couldn't buy it forcefully, then he would rob it forcefully. That was nothing. In any case, the immortal Emperor Fingerbone was already a hot potato for Lei Shi. Ning Fan was a living person. It was impossible for him to be greedy and care about the lightning jades. Therefore, Lei Shi understood that no matter how high the price he offered to Ning Fan was, as long as he paid with lightning jades and Ning Fan could obtain them, Ning Fan would not reject it. This old man wants the thunder jades. All the thunder jades you had before you left the Black Lightning Tower. If you agree, I can give you the fingerbone right now. To undead spirits, the lightning jade could increase their magic power. However, it was completely useless to him. Even if he does not give it to Lei Shi, it would just be trash that would occupy his bag. Lei Shi's asking price was not excessive. Moreover, this merchant was a little shrewd. What he wanted was all the lightning jades Ning Fan had before he left the Black Lightning Tower. He predicted that there would be a great battle between Ning Fan and King Ing Long. In this grand formation, countless undead spirits would fall. Ning Fan would obtain a huge amount of lightning jades which would eventually belong to Lei Shi. Although the immortal emperor's fingerbone was precious, it wouldn't fetch a high price even if it was sold to other dead spirits. Void Inquiry stage experts who are at the same level as Lei Shi would not have too much money. If a Void Peer stage old monster knew that Lei Shi had this item, he would immediately snatch it from him. Why would he still need to buy it? This treasure belongs to you now. Lei Shi laughed heartily and passed the jade box to Ning Fan without hesitation. His eyes flashed with a hint of surprise and relief. This subtle expression could not escape Ning Fan's eyes. Ning Fan received the jade box and felt surprised. This Lei Shi really trusted him. He dared to hand over the jade box before he paid for it. When he looked at Lei Shi's expression again, Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. The surprise in Lei Shi's eyes was naturally because the finger bone was sold at a sky-high price. That trace of relief, what was that relief? It was as if a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. Could it be that this immortal emperor's finger bone is still a hot potato to Lei Shi? That's most likely the case. When he thought about it carefully, this Lei Shi seemed to be a little impatient to sell the finger bone to him. Congratulations, Pavilion Lord Lei. You've avoided a disaster. Ning Fan kept the jade box. There was a hidden meaning in his words which startled Lei Shi. He knew that Ning Fan had already seen through his little trick. Inwardly, he was amazed by Ning Fan's eyesight and he no longer concealed it. Lying in front of an intelligent person would only produce the opposite of the desired result. That's right. Just like what you've guessed, this finger bone is indeed a little hot. That King Ing Long wanted it, but he was reluctant to pay for it. That's why I decided to sell it to you. After all, you're never stingy. In that case, if I get rid of King Ing Long, I'll be doing you a great favor. According to the rules of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, how are you going to repay me for helping you? Ning Fan said with a faint smile. How about I give all 14 inheritance crystals to you? It's not enough, right? 14 crystals are only worth 700 silver jades. Now, I'm only lacking manpower. I don't lack silver jades. Ning Fan advised. What conditions do you have? Just tell me. As long as the conditions are reasonable and it doesn't harm the foundation of my Myriad Treasure Pavilion, it's not impossible for me to help you with some meager strength. However, if you want my Myriad Treasure Pavilion to fight against King Ing Long, you'd better find someone better. I can't gamble with the lives of my brothers. Lei Shi's eyes turned solemn. He had already guessed what Ning Fan's conditions were. Asking him to be a hired thug? Asking the Myriad Treasure Pavilion to be his hired thug to fight against King Ing Long. It was not that he was unwilling to fight against King Ing Long. In fact, he disliked the latter from the beginning. Speaking of which, how many Void Inquiry stage old monsters in the first 24 floors would like to be ruled by King Ing Long? The Lightning Lord of the 11th floor, Zhu Feng, was King Ing Long's subordinate. This was also the reason why Lei Shi and Zhu Feng did not get along. To be honest, if Ning Fan could kill Zhu Feng and King Ing Long, Lei Shi would be very willing to do so. Besides, he believed that other than a few of King Ing Long's lackeys, most of the Void Inquiry stage old monsters in the first 24 floors would not help King Ing Long to fight against Ning Fan. However, Lei Shi did not think that Ning Fan had the strength to kill King Ing Long. Therefore, even if he helps Ning Fan, it was impossible for him to help King Ing Long to the extent of making him hate him. What Lei Shi said had already revealed his bottom line. Meager strength, huh? Fine. I'll accept these inheritance crystals. However, I wonder how much help Pavilion Master Lei can provide with your meager strength? Ning Fan knew that Lei Shi did not dare to go against King Ing Long. Thus, he did not force him. Golden purple mist floated on his palm and he directly reached into the formation light. Ignoring how powerful the formation light was, he took out 14 crystals and kept them one by one. After that, he divided all the lightning jades he had into a storage pouch and passed it to Lei Shi. Seeing Ning Fan's method of breaking the formation with the mist, the corner of Lei Shi's eyes shrunk. The power involved in that golden purple mist was too terrifying. He could not see through it at all. After receiving the storage pouch and weighing it in his hand, Lei Shi's eyes flashed with a complicated look. Perhaps Ning Fan could really kill King Ing Long. Perhaps, by helping Ning Fan today, he would form a good relationship with him in the future. However, there were too many brothers' lives behind Lei Shi. He could not risk it. I'm sorry. I can only help you kill Zhu Feng and ascend to the 11th floor at most. Even if King Ing Long asks about this matter, I can also explain it to him privately. Is that so? That's good too. 3 days. 3 days later, I will return to the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. At that time, I will kill my way to the 11th floor. I hope Pavilion Master will help me more when the time comes. After all, The more lightning jades I kill, the more lightning jades I will obtain. When I leave, these lightning jades will still fall into fellow Taoists' hands. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he put on his cloak and vanished from Lei Shi's sight. Seeing Ning Fan disappear into thin air, Lei Shi's eyes widened in surprise. In the past, he heard that Ning Fan had escaped from the pursuit of 10 Void Glimpse stage experts, but he did not know how. Today, he finally knew that Ning Fan's concealment method was actually so heaven-defying. With such a method, it was absolutely impossible for King Yinglong to kill Ning Fan. Unless it's a void fragmentation realm expert, no one would be able to see through Ning Fan's concealment. Who would be able to find him and kill him? King Yinglong cannot be offended, but this young man cannot be offended even more. It seems like if I don't put in some effort this time, this young man will certainly not let this matter rest. Even though he is smiling when he talks to me, I don't know why his smile makes me feel a little scared. This young man's baleful chi is a little too heavy. Lei Shi's feelings were a little complicated. However, when he thought that he was about to make a fortune, his mood became better. After walking out of the 4th layer of formation light, the 5 old monsters who were waiting outside the formation light were puzzled. They could not hear the conversation between Lei Shi and Ning Fan as they were separated by the formation light. However, they saw Lei Shi taking out an incomparably precious immortal emperor's finger bone and giving it to Ning Fan. They saw Ning Fan actually taking out a terrifying cloak and vanishing into thin air. Puzzled. All of these were puzzling. Without giving them a chance to ask, Lei Shi directly gave an order. Hurry up and prepare for war. 3 days later, the entire pavilion will be mobilized. There will be a great battle. Great battle? What great battle? Chu Nanfeng asked in confusion. The battle with Zhu Feng. What? Pavilion Master, are you kidding me? That Zhu Feng is extremely powerful. Pavilion Master has fought against him 11 times and you have lost 11 times. Therefore, this time, I will not be defeated again. Do you think that all the lightning jades that I have earned over the years have been used on a dog? Lei Shi choked on his words. He seemed to have scolded himself. Get lost. You are not allowed to have any more objections. If you have any more objections, I will spit dog shit on your face. He seemed to have scolded himself again. Seeing that Lei Shi's expression was becoming more and more unpleasant, Chu Nanfeng and the others obediently shut their mouths and did not dare to talk back. The 5 of them were greatly indebted to Lei Shi. If it wasn't for him, the 5 of them would not have been able to live until today, let alone have the chance to enter the void refinement realm. Even if Lei Shi asked them to die, they would not say a word. However, they did not think that Lei Shi would certainly lose the battle with Zhu Feng. During the past hundreds of years, Lei Shi had worked hard to earn lightning jades and devoured them. His magic power was much stronger than before. This time, he might not necessarily lose to Zhu Feng. Pavilion Master, if you want to fight, we won't hesitate to die. The 5 of them cupped their fists at the same time. When Zhu Feng came to the Myriad Treasure Pavilion and threatened to destroy the pavilion if they do not hand over the Emperor's bone, he had already offended the 5 of them. If you want to fight, then let's fight. In reality, Ning Fan did not leave the Myriad Treasure Pavilion immediately. After he became invisible, he still stayed in the pavilion for a long time. He eavesdropped on Lei Shi's order to the 5 old monsters and also saw the entire pavilion preparing for war. Although he had met Lei Shi a few times, it was impossible for him to trust Lei Shi completely. After some observation, he gradually came to believe that Lei Shi did indeed have the heart to help him eliminate Zhu Feng. Lei Shi was someone he could befriend. Even if Lei Shi was a little wretched, he must have his own charisma to be able to make 5 of his subordinates follow him through life and death. He could rest assured about the Myriad Treasure Pavilion as he could improve his techniques in these 3 days. When he was 1 million li away from the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, Ning Fan removed his cloak and went straight into the profound Yin world. Ning Fan scanned the thatched cottage with his spirit sense. When he saw that Luo Yu was still in a deep sleep, he shook his head. He did not expect her to help him destroy the Black Lightning Tower. Sitting cross-legged in the profound Yin world, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out several hundred jade boxes. With a jolt of his magic power, all of them floated in the air. Each jade box contained dozens of primordial lightning bolts. There was a total of 10,000 traces of primordial lightning here. If he devours all of them, his primordial lightning armor would rise to a terrifying level. The sword chi from his finger cut a jade box into pieces. Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed the primordial lightning into his abdomen, refining it into the lightning armor in his dantian. Inside his dantian, a palm-sized primordial spirit wearing a golden lightning armor was sitting cross-legged to recuperate. When it sensed the primordial lightning entering its abdomen, it immediately opened its small eyes and performed a series of hand seals with a serious expression. Refine. Traces of primordial lightning power were refined into the lightning armor. With the lightning refinement speed of the profound Yin world that was 100 times faster, the entire process did not take too long. Ning Fan crushed the jade boxes one after another. Each and every trace of primordial lightning was refined into the lightning armor. The lightning power of primordial lightning needed to break through to the second level of the first level of the lightning armor was extremely massive. Every time it absorbed a trace of primordial lightning, the golden color of the armor would become brighter. After absorbing 3,000 traces of primordial lightning, the lightning armor shone with golden light. It finally advanced to the second level of the lightning armor. After breaking through to the second level, the defense of the lightning armor had risen to a terrifying level. It could even withstand the attacks of Void Inquiry stage old monsters. With the second level of the lightning armor, Ning Fan could withstand a Void Inquiry stage attack and ignore the full-powered attack of a Void Glimpse stage expert. However, just the second level of the lightning armor was not enough to fight against King Ying Long. The lightning power needed to break through to the third level of the lightning armor from the second level became even greater. The remaining 7,000 traces of primordial lightning were all refined into the lightning armor. However, it only completed half of the advancement. At least another 6,000 traces of primordial lightning were needed for the lightning armor to advance to the third level. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. He still thought that the advancement of the lightning armor was too easy. Fortunately, even though the lightning armor had yet to advance to the third level, its defense had greatly increased compared to the second level. Ordinary Void Inquiry stage experts like Lei Shi would probably not be able to break through Ning Fan's defense. If it's just to kill Lightning Lord Zhu Feng of the 11th floor, the current lightning armor is more than enough. Reforge the Separation Slayer sword. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a piece of 2-star divine iron. Compared to the 1-star divine iron that he obtained previously, the star power of this piece of star iron was more than a few times stronger. He took out the Separation Slayer sword and merged it with the 2-star divine iron to refine it. What Ning Fan needed to do was to refine the impurities. However, this time, he included all the impurities in the Separation Slayer sword. Under the refinement of the black flames, the body of the Separation Slayer sword began to change. Gradually, it became as thin as a cicada's wings and became slightly transparent. There were even clear starlight flowing around it. The sword light was as cold as autumn water. After this round of refinement, the grade of the Separation Slayer sword increased. It was almost at the mid-grade mortal void realm. The autumn water-like sword light gave Ning Fan an extremely dangerous and sharp feeling. Once he was hit by a trace of the sword light, that trace of autumn water-like sword light would split into millions and millions of sword threads, tearing everything that it touches into pieces. If the vital parts of one's primordial spirit are hit by this sword, even a Void Glimpse stage expert would most likely be killed by Ning Fan with a single strike. With this sword in hand, Ning Fan could totally kill a Void Glimpse stage expert with a single sword attack using the Heaven-Deceiving Cloak. Only half a day had passed since the advancement of the lightning armor and the recasting of the Separation Slayer sword. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out 14 pieces of inheritance crystals. His eyes were filled with curiosity. I wonder if there are any secret techniques or inheritances inside these crystals. Chapter 421. Crystals of inheritance were extremely precious. Only experts at the level of the previous reign sovereign could obtain them. Ning Fan had no doubt that the ones who left these 14 crystals were all experts of that level. Ning Fan could not help but be curious about the things that were passed down in the crystals. His spirit sense went into the crystals one by one. Sometimes he was surprised and sometimes disappointed. His expression was extremely complicated. As expected, the ones who left the 14 crystals were 14 void fragmentation realm old monsters. All of them had different backgrounds. Among them, 5 of them contained information like last words or memories. They could not improve the strength of a cultivator. Ning Fan naturally kept the crystals in disappointment. Among the remaining 9 crystals, 4 of them contained cultivation methods, 2 of them contained information like the ruins of a cave dwelling or a treasure map, while the last 3 contained magic techniques. Ning Fan did not need void fragmentation realm cultivation methods. The treasure map and the ruins of a cave dwelling were left behind in an unknown year. Moreover, the place where they were hidden did not seem to be the rain world. The items inside were merely void fragmentation realm storage. Ning Fan was not interested in them and would not search for them. Among the 3 magic techniques, 2 of them were useless. However, there was an incomplete body technique that he could use a little. This incomplete body technique was called 4 Symbols of Self. It seemed to be a secret technique of the Buddha sect. The 4 symbols of self were divided into self symbol, human symbol, all living beings symbol, and longevity symbol. In the Buddha sect, those who were obsessed with the 4 symbols could not attain Buddhahood. However, there were cultivators with great abilities who fused the 4 symbols of the Buddha sect with their obsession to attain Buddhahood. East, West, South, North and South. The void of the 4 dimensions is boundless. Everything that has a symbol is an illusion. If you see the symbol but not the symbol, you will see Tathagata. If you cultivate the 4 symbols of self and enter the nirvana realm, immortals and Buddhas will not be able to destroy you. You will be immeasurable and your immortal body will never be destroyed. Ning Fan frowned slightly. It seems like the 4 symbols of self has a great origin. However, the void fragmentation realm expert who left this crystal only knew 1 symbol. It was already not easy to obtain the inheritance of 1 symbol. The self symbol was the weakest symbol. However, if one cultivates this symbol, it would not be weaker than ordinary low-grade mortal void body techniques. To Ning Fan, who only knew the ice-shattering body technique, the self-symbol technique was undoubtedly a great gain. He did not care about the incomplete secret technique. After keeping the crystals one by one, Ning Fan spent half a day to master the technique of the self-symbol technique. 3 days, 2 days left. There was only one thing left for Ning Fan to do in the last 2 days. His eyes became serious as he slapped his bag of holding and took out a jade box. For the first time, hesitation appeared on his face. To swallow or not to swallow? This finger bone belonged to an immortal emperor. The power it contained could only be described as terrifying. Ning Fan did not know what would happen after he swallowed the finger and refined it. However, this was a great opportunity. He closed his eyes and made a decision in his heart. Just as he was considering whether or not to devour the bone, the demonic runes on his back suddenly became hot. The demonic patterns faintly emitted the emotions of resistance and fear. Within the pattern, the tightly shut demonic eye seemed to have the urge to open its eyelids. Boom! All of a sudden, a wave of devil chi rushed into Ning Fan's body. The devil chi was as vast as the ocean. It completely drowned Ning Fan's mind like a small boat. As the evil chi filled his body, he almost lost control of his body. In the world of his mind, the figure of a black-robed demon slowly condensed. In order for that demon to completely condense, it still needed a long time. However, today, the demon had a premonition that there would be a great danger. He could not wait any longer. He forcefully condensed the devil chi in Ning Fan's body and slowly formed a second primordial spirit in Ning Fan's dantian. However, this second primordial spirit was indeed black in color with monstrous devil chi. Its appearance was exactly the same as Ning Fan's, but its personality was completely different. That demon was trying to take over Ning Fan's body and devour his first primordial spirit. Ning Fan's expression changed greatly. He had never cultivated any second primordial spirit technique before. He was extremely sure that this black primordial spirit was forcefully condensed after he took out the jade box. Before that, it definitely did not exist. Could this black primordial spirit be the great hidden danger of Mo Luo's inheritance? Who are you? Why did you hide in my body? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Who am I? I am you. To be more precise, I am your devil heart. Every time you kill someone, you will accumulate a trace of devil chi which will flow into your devil marks. That devil chi is extracting the power of your primordial spirit bit by bit. As for me, I am the accumulation of that primordial spirit power. Today is the first day of my birth, and I am you, Ning Fan. However, I am different from you. From the moment I am born, all the killings I have killed are not for anyone. Not for my master, not for Jiha. I will only sacrifice my entire life for Mo Luo's resurrection. My biggest dream is to become Mo Luo's slave. The black primordial spirit sneered. Mo Luo's slave? Ning Fan's eyes became even colder. He vaguely understood that the person who spread this devil mark was most likely that Mo Luo. That Mo Luo must be an influential figure in the ancient devil race. The reason why Mo Luo created this devil mark was to nurture thousands of slaves. Every person who cultivates this devil mark would receive a great increase in their strength in the beginning. However, they would be constantly influenced by the devil mark and gradually become bloodthirsty and brutal. Every time they kill a person, they would accumulate a trace of devil heart. When there are enough devil hearts, they would condense into a black primordial spirit and devour the main body. In a sense, this method of condensing a primordial spirit was no different from a second primordial spirit. It was indeed the second Ning Fan. However, this second Ning Fan had already recognized Mo Luo as his slave from the moment he was born. If this black primordial spirit takes control of his body, it would certainly devour Ning Fan's first primordial spirit and occupy his consciousness, turning him into Mo Luo's slave. He was still Ning Fan, but he was also no longer Ning Fan. What a vicious technique! I'm afraid that this devil mark has harmed countless people in the ancient times and turned them into its slaves. However, something isn't right. This black primordial spirit is obviously not mature yet. Today, it condensed its primordial spirit out of instinct. It seems like it just instinctively sensed danger and forcefully condensed it. He is afraid. Ning Fan's eyes fell upon the jade box in his hand and he vaguely understood something. He is afraid. He is afraid that I will obtain the strength to suppress him after devouring the immortal emperor's finger bone. Therefore, he wants to destroy my primordial spirit and occupy my body before I devour the finger bone. He wants me, a dignified man, to become his slave. Don't you dare get away with it. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with anger. He would never become anyone's slave. Never. If he hesitated before devouring the immortal emperor's finger bone, he would not hesitate at all now in order to suppress the black primordial spirit. He could not be devoured by the black primordial spirit. He wanted to devour the emperor's bone. He wanted to borrow the might of an immortal emperor to slay the black primordial spirit and devour it. Refine. While he still had the last bit of control over his body, Ning Fan shattered the jade box with his palm. He forcefully refined it without caring about the immense magic power of the emperor's bone. All of a sudden, the black primordial spirit let out an extremely furious roar. You can't kill me. I am you. You are not me. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Even if the black primordial spirit was another Ning Fan, he was willing to sever his own self in order to not lose himself. How dare you harm me? I will fight you to the death. Devil infusion technique. The black primordial spirit revealed a frenzied expression. His madness was exactly the same as Ning Fan's. When one is at a dead end, he would risk his life. After his small hands formed a series of hand seals, the devil chi in Ning Fan's body increased by tens of times in an instant. At this moment, he finally lost control of his body. His physical body was dyed black by the devil Qi, turning into the appearance of a 5,000 zhang tall black-armored giant in the profound Yin world. That black-armored giant had 2 horns on his head. Both of them were the appearance of mist horn. He turned into a giant and his fists could crush mountains. It was the appearance of giant devil. He had 6 black wings on his back. It was the appearance of 6 wings. There was a black vertical eye on his glabella. It was the appearance of ghost eye. Giant devil, mist horn, 6 wings and ghost eye are all slaves of Mo Luo. You still want to go to the giant devil clan and get rid of the hidden danger of the devil marks? Dream on. I originally planned to devour you after you arrive at the giant devil clan. Today, I have no choice but to do so in advance. You must die. The devilized giant revealed a cold smile. However, at the next moment, his eyes turned extremely cold. He thought that he had successfully devoured Ning Fan. However, when he lowered his head to take a look, he found that there was a finger bone on his index finger which still contained lightning light. It could not be completely devilized. As for Ning Fan's primordial spirit, it was staying inside the finger bone. It was not devoured by the devil Qi at all. However, Ning Fan's current condition was definitely not optimistic. Even though his primordial spirit was not devoured by the devil Qi, it was shaken by it and made him fall into a deep sleep. Ning Fan felt as if he had fallen into a dream. In his dream, he was standing in front of a devil mountain. A monstrous aura force pressed down on his shoulders, forcing him to kneel and kowtow to the devil mountain. On the peak of the devil mountain, a black-robed middle-aged man ordered with a cold and stern look. I am Mo Luo. Become my slave and kowtow to my devil mountain. I will not die and you will not die. Don't even think about it. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. He would not kneel. In the thatched cottage in the profound Yin world, Luo Yu, who was pretending to be asleep, sensed the drastic changes in the outside world. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock and worry. One of the 9 ancestors of the ancient devil ancestors. Mo Luo. How could this be? How could this brat get himself into such a huge trouble? How could she still have the mood to pretend to be asleep? She moved with light steps and quickly left the thatched cottage. Looking at the mountain-like black-armored giant, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her heart. Tears were already falling from her eyes. He's dead. He's dead. Only his enslaved primordial spirit is left in his dantian. His first primordial spirit is already dead. She hated herself for not realizing that Ning Fan actually had the hidden danger of Mo Luo in his body. If she knew about it, she would certainly do everything she could to help Ning Fan get rid of the danger just like she did in the past. She hated herself for being powerless and not even having the chance to save Ning Fan. Legend has it that in ancient times, the ancestor of Mo Luo had a method that could enslave immortals. Once one's body is inundated with devil Qi, there would be no chance of saving him. He is really dead. He did not even know that she had already woken up. No. He is not dead yet. Luo Yu's eyes flashed. Suddenly, her tears stopped flowing and she revealed a surprised smile. She noticed that the finger bone of the devil giant had yet to be demonized. That is, the finger bone of an immortal emperor. Where did this brat get such a supreme treasure from? It actually stopped Mo Luo from enslaving him. With this finger bone, he has a high chance of defeating the enslaved primordial spirit. However, his first primordial spirit is already in a deep sleep. Could it be that it was injured by the devil Qi? I must help him. Luo Yu's eyes that were as gentle as water were filled with determination. Her robes that were as white as snow suddenly gave off an extremely vast aura force. Even if I have to harm myself, I must help him. I will treat it as repaying him for waking me up. Chapter 422. In the dream in his mind, Ning Fan's body felt like it was being suppressed by 1,000 mountains. His white robes were drenched in blood. However, even though all his bones were broken, he still refused to kneel down. His gaze was cold as he stared angrily at the black-clothed middle-aged man at the peak of the demonic mountain. The entire world was drowned in black snowflakes. Standing amidst the black snow, this person did not feel out of place. He was a demon, and the snow was demonic snow. Their temperaments matched, and there was a kind of natural Tao rhythm within. The black-robed middle-aged man's gaze was like a halberd, his expression grave and stern. His hair was messy, and he had 2 horns on his head, 6 wings on his back, and a vertical ghost eye on his forehead. Standing at the peak of the Devil Mountain, he looked down at Ning Fan as if he was an ant. His eyes were expressionless, and there was only disdain that came from his soul. Kowtow before the devil, become my slave, melt your immortal foundation, condense your ancient devil body. Why don't you kneel? What will happen if I kneel? Ning Fan sneered. The black-robed middle-aged man was silent for a moment. There were only 2 possible answers to his question. One was to become a slave, and the other was to refuse. Ning Fan was the first person who dared to ask a rhetorical question. If you kneel, then you'll be bestowed with the body of Devil Luo. You'll be able to slaughter your loved ones, and you'll be able to prove the path of the devil, become a supreme true devil, and help me awaken. The day I awaken, I will grant you immortality. So, I won't kneel. Ning Fan sneered even more coldly. He would not kneel because he had already seen through the origin of that black primordial spirit from the very beginning. That black primordial spirit was none other than Ning Fan himself. It was the amalgamation of all his negative emotions. How much he loved Jiha, how much he cared for his beauties and loved ones, how cold-blooded and resentful the black primordial spirit was. He could not be devoured by the black primordial spirit. Otherwise, after the black primordial spirit took over his body, the first thing it would do would be to kill to prove its fiendish Tao. He didn't kneel not only because he was stubborn, not only because he didn't want to be a slave, but also because he couldn't do it. He had once fallen into the demonic path for the sake of strength, but if the end of the demonic path was to harm his loved ones, then the demonic path could be abandoned. But whether you kneel or not, it's never up to you. The black-robed middle-aged man snorted coldly. He took a step forward, and his body shattered into countless black snowflakes. The next moment, the entire world began to tremble violently as a shocking demonic aura appeared, as if it was about to shatter the sky. In the face of the devil might, the black snow swirled in the opposite direction and went into Ning Fan's body. Beneath Ning Fan's feet, a gigantic square-shaped formation diagram emerged out of nowhere. The black lines on it were mysterious and strange. An irresistible devil chi poured into Ning Fan's body. In an instant, Ning Fan's eyes changed. Possession. Impossible. He could not imagine that the black-robed middle-aged man had actually transcended time and space, transcended life and death, and used a trace of Mo Luo's slave imprint in Ning Fan's body with his peerless ability to seize Ning Fan's body. According to the black-robed man's original plan, he should be preparing to enslave Ning Fan. With his identity, it was impossible for him to take a liking to a mere divine transformation realm cultivator. However, after witnessing Ning Fan's stubbornness, he suddenly changed his plan and prepared to seize Ning Fan's body. Not bad, my plan has changed. Your personality suits my taste. A body that hasn't knelt before is the most qualified to be possessed by me. Within Ning Fan's body, another consciousness began to grow rapidly. This consciousness belonged to one of the 9 great devil ancestors, Great Emperor Mo Luo. The original plan was to enslave Ning Fan and force him to prepare the physical body of a true immortal realm expert for Mo Luo to descend and seize his body for resurrection. Today, however, Mo Luo wanted to directly seize Ning Fan's body. If the black primordial spirit tries to devour Ning Fan, he could still resist a little. Now that his body was being seized by an immortal Emperor realm expert, how could he resist even a little? Ning Fan's white robes that were stained with blood gradually turned into a black robe. His consciousness gradually became blurry. He seemed to see the beautiful figures of the women in the past walking further and further away from him as if they were strangers. He seemed to be able to imagine what kind of insane things he would do once Great Emperor Mo Luo transcends time and space to seize his body. He would slaughter all of his loved ones. Don't even think. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with madness. If he could not choose to live, he could still choose death. He could abandon his Tao, he could sacrifice his life, and he could even lose his Tao in name. But no matter what, he would not allow those women to be harmed by others. Primordial spirit, ignite. Demon blood, ignite. Sea of consciousness, ignite. He ignited everything. He wanted to stop Mo Luo from seizing his body and stop the black primordial spirit from occupying his body. He wanted to destroy all of Mo Luo's plans with his death. Moreover, if he was lucky, he could commit suicide when Mo Luo was halfway through seizing Ning Fan's body. By doing so, he would certainly suffer severe injuries and pay the price. I didn't expect that he would rather die than help me resurrect. How ruthless! After being frightened by Ning Fan, Mo Luo had no choice but to give up his plan of seizing Ning Fan's body. He turned into black snow and entered Ning Fan's body. Since he could not seize Ning Fan's body, he could only play it safe and let his black primordial spirit slowly devour Ning Fan. As long as Ning Fan kneels down and kowtows to the devil for the last time, everything would be done. Devil of heaven and earth, listen to my ancestors' command. Kneel. Great Emperor Mo Luo shouted coldly and uttered a devil voice from his mouth. All of a sudden, an unimaginable aura force descended on Ning Fan's body, shaking his mind. Ning Fan's expression became blank as if he was in a daze. His body could not help but want to kowtow to the Devil Mountain. Under this devil voice, he had to submit. Not only him, but even heaven and earth also had to submit to him. This was the law of words. Even though Ning Fan's heart was against it, he could not control his body. At this moment, however, a wave of magic power that was as cool as Luo River suddenly poured into Ning Fan's body. This coolness gradually swept away the trace of confusion in Ning Fan's eyes, preventing him from kneeling at the critical moment. Great Emperor Mo Luo was slightly stunned. Then, his eyes turned cold and said, "The forbidden curse of the Luo clan, heart-cleansing kindness incantation. How dare you obstruct my plans? You're courting death." Just as he was about to make a move to disperse the curse on Ning Fan's body and cause the caster to suffer a backlash, the situation suddenly changed at the next moment. This time, even he could not help but reveal a shocked expression. Impossible! Why is there an immortal emperor in this place? At this moment of imminent peril, the entire world suddenly split into two. Half of the world was still covered in black snow while the other half of the world had turned into a world of blood and lightning with rumbling thunder and flashing lightning. An old Taoist in red robes arrived while stepping on a red cloud. His tone was filled with sarcasm. A dignified great emperor of the devil race is bullying a junior at the first step realm. Don't you feel ashamed? Who are you? I'm the immortal emperor of the future generations, Tai Su. Today, I have the chance to fight Great Emperor Mo Luo. I really have no regrets even if I die today. Young man, back off. The old Taoist in red robes arrived in the blink of an eye. Lightning flashed in his eyes and an immortal aura force that was slightly weaker than Mo Luo's swept across the place, dispersing all the devil chi in Ning Fan's body. Ning Fan regained his mobility. His eyes were filled with astonishment. This old Taoist who appeared again called himself Tai Su. Of course, he was the owner of the Lightning Star and Emperor Bone. Since this person had appeared, he was obviously here to protect Ning Fan. Just by standing beside Mo Luo and Tai Su, Ning Fan already felt like his body was going to collapse. He could not resist the terrifying immortal aura force at all. Immortals were people who stood on mountains. As for these two immortal emperors of different eras, both of them had once stood at the peak of immortals. But Ning Fan could only retreat. There was no place for him to attack at all in this place. He hurriedly retreated to 100,000 li away and observed from afar. Mo Luo and Tai Su stood opposite each other. The place where each of them stood was a world that belonged to them. Mo Luo ordered snow to fall on heaven and earth while Tai Su made heaven and earth be filled with blood and lightning. With Ning Fan's insight, he could vaguely tell that the two immortal emperors had usurped the heavenly Tao using their emperor's aura force, causing the heavenly Tao that they were in to change. It turns out that when one's cultivation base reaches the immortal emperor realm, they can even seize the heavenly Tao. Ning Fan exclaimed. He knew that a battle between two emperors that was unknown to the world was about to break out in his mind. It would be a grand occasion that was rarely seen since ancient times, and Ning Fan was the only one who could witness it. If ordinary cultivators could witness the dignity of immortal emperors, they would probably die without regrets. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was fortunate enough to witness two immortal emperors fighting to their death. Mo Luo and Tai Su were wearing black robes and red robes respectively. The world was broken into two halves. The heavenly Tao forces of the two worlds were fighting against each other. The black snow and the blood-red lightning collided with each other and vanished into thin air. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the two worlds began to collapse. The red heavenly Tao force dispersed. Even though the black force did not dissipate, it was also severely damaged. The aftermath of the collision was enough to shatter the rain world. Tai Su took 10 steps back continuously before he could stabilize himself. Each step he took would crush mountains and rivers. His eyes faintly revealed a hint of astonishment, and he said with a solemn tone, "You're indeed worthy of being the 9 ancestors of the ancient devils. I'm actually so much weaker than you. You're not bad either. You're just an immortal emperor of the later generations, but you can actually make me take half a step back. This half a step is enough to make you invincible among those at the same level as you in that era." Mo Luo also took half a step back. From his pale face, one could tell that this half a step was a great humiliation to him. In ancient times, among the 9 ancestors of the devil race, Mo Luo was one of the strongest 9 emperors of the devil race. Those who could make him take half a step back were all outstanding geniuses without exception. As an immortal emperor of the later generations, Tai Su was able to make Mo Luo take a step back. Just like what Mo Luo had guessed, he was also one of the few overlords in the world in his era. Tai Su came to protect Ning Fan. Thus, he would certainly not hurt him. As for Mo Luo, he had his own pride. He would certainly not sneak an attack on Ning Fan. He allowed Ning Fan to watch the battle between the two emperors and even deliberately restrained the energy fluctuations from their battle, not letting them kill Ning Fan. Compared to enslaving a junior, Mo Luo was more interested in Tai Su right now. "Fight me." Mo Luo took a step forward. His eyes were filled with frenzied killing intent, but he gradually calmed down. From existence to nothingness was not a loss but a sublimation. His eyes were pitch black. At this moment, wherever Mo Luo's gaze reached, heaven and earth would be dyed black. Patches of blood-red lightning began to crumble. Ning Fan's expression changed greatly when Mo Luo caught a glimpse of him from the corner of his eyes. At this moment, he felt as if the depths of his soul was about to be dyed black and devoured by Mo Luo's gaze. That was not death. It was fusing into Mo Luo's Tao and becoming a part of him. That was destruction. It was a death that was scarier than death. Everything would turn into nothingness and all Tao sense would vanish into thin air. Use the lightning diagram to protect your body. Tai Su's voice resounded. A trace of lightning power entered Ning Fan's body. All of a sudden, a massive blood-red lightning diagram appeared under Ning Fan's feet on its own without Ning Fan activating it. Moreover, the might of this lightning diagram was more than 100 times stronger than when Ning Fan personally displayed it. Not only could it devour lightning power of the same level, but it could also devour Tao sense and devour everything. A trace of magic power from an immortal emperor could actually make the lightning diagram display 100 times more power. If Tai Su were to display this lightning diagram personally, how powerful would it be? Ning Fan's heart was filled with gratitude. If it wasn't because of Tai Su's help, he would certainly have perished under Mo Luo's gaze. It turned out that he was really very weak. It turned out that the current Ning Fan could not even withstand a single gaze from an immortal emperor. Other than the trace of lightning power that Tai Su channeled into his body, Ning Fan also sensed a trace of cool magic power that was as gentle as water. This gentleness gave him a sense of déjà vu, but he had indeed never seen it before. Other than Tai Su, who else is helping me? Ning Fan frowned. At the next moment, all his thoughts were awakened by an earth-shattering aura force. Mo Luo raised his 5 fingers to the sky and made a grabbing motion. All of the great momentum of the heavenly Tao condensed into pieces of black snowflakes which shone with strange starlight. Then, they condensed into a black bow made of ice and snow. On the surface of that black bow, there were millions of strange runes of the devil race. With Ning Fan's eyesight, he could tell at a glance that those runes were some kind of special formation marks which seemed to be able to increase the might of his bow technique. With his Tao of formations, he could see through the veins of those runes and engrave them in his heart. He recognized that this bow technique was the technique that old ancestor Six-Winged was famous for, the star-punishing bow. As for Mo Luo, he did not use his star power. Instead, he borrowed the great momentum of the heavenly Tao to change the ice and snow into stars, which then evolved into the star-punishing bow. Ning Fan could not understand the profound principle behind this. However, he understood that the star-punishing bow that Mo Luo displayed was millions of times more profound than the bow that he used. Before Mo Luo pulled the bowstring, heaven and earth were already trembling in fear. The power of this bow was enough to pierce through the rain world. This was the true meaning of the world being destroyed when the bow is pulled. To Ning Fan, witnessing Mo Luo displaying this bow technique was definitely a rare opportunity. Star-punishing bow. Tai Su obviously recognized this technique. His eyes were filled with astonishment. This bow technique was created by my slave, Louis. In the end, he became my Tao corpse and offered his body to me. Therefore, this bow technique is naturally for me to use. Take this bow. The corner of Mo Luo's mouth curved into a cold and cruel smile. He spread his arms and pulled the bowstring. His vast and terrifying magic power turned into a black starlight arrow made of ice and snow. The mountains and rivers collapsed and trembled. The ground sank and the hollow space collapsed. Die! Mo Luo sneered and shot the arrow. Wherever the arrow touched, heaven and earth would collapse and be annihilated, turning back into primal chaos. Tai Su's expression changed greatly. From this arrow, he sensed a trace of life or death might. He clenched his 5 fingers and a ray of lightning light that was as dazzling as a rainbow instantly condensed into a rainbow-colored lightning armor. The grade of this lightning armor was countless times higher than Ning Fan's. It was not even recorded in Hong Yi's secret technique. With the might of this lightning armor, Tai Su had once withstood the attacks of a few immortal emperors at the same level as him without breaking his lightning armor. However, when the arrow light hit the lightning armor, the world where Tai Su was at instantly collapsed. The lightning armor that was strong enough to defend against the joint attacks of a few immortal emperors collapsed in an instant. Puff! Tai Su spurted out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Even with his strength that was almost invincible among his peers, he actually had no power to resist Mo Luo. The arrow broke his armor. That arrow even wanted to destroy Tai Su's Tao. At the critical moment, Tai Su suddenly stepped on the void space. A 7-colored lightning diagram appeared under his feet. His physical body turned into a ray of 7-colored rainbow light and went into the lightning diagram, avoiding the fatal attack. That arrow did not kill Tai Su. Instead, it hit the millions of hollow space behind him, stirring up a terrifying storm. After a long time, the storm disappeared. Tai Su got out of the lightning diagram. His old face was as pale as a piece of golden paper. There was a bloody hole in his chest. The arrow pierced through his heart and it could not heal. Cough cough. I've lost. You're not weak anymore. When I was at my peak, there were only 1 or 2 people among the 9 devil ancestors who could survive a single attack from me. Mo Luo frowned and said, it was really out of his expectation that Tai Su could not be killed with a single arrow. However, you're not at your peak now. Tai Su smiled shamefully. His eyes were fixed on the Devil Mountain in the distance as if he was referring to something. Don't worry. Even so, I've only used 30% of my strength. You should be proud of yourself for being able to survive an attack that uses 30% of my strength. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He had always thought that immortal emperors were the supreme experts. Besides, from the conversation between the two of them, Ning Fan could also tell that Tai Su was definitely a top-notch immortal emperor of the same generation. However, an immortal emperor like him was almost killed by an arrow from Mo Luo who used 30% of his strength. This Mo Luo was so strong. It was too terrifying. Immortal emperors were not the strongest. Great Emperor Mo Luo, you're very strong. However, this young man is my successor after countless generations. He's the first junior who condensed my Tai Su lightning star. He can be considered as half a disciple of mine. You can't hurt him. Stubborn. This time, I won't show any mercy. Soul extraction. Mo Luo's eyes turned cold. He clawed at the void space with his 5 fingers. At the next moment, traces of soul power were extracted. He clawed at the ground and extracted the soul of the earth. He clawed at the void space and extracted the soul of the void. He clawed at the sky and extracted the soul of the sun, moon, and stars. He clawed at the sky a second time and extracted the soul of the heavenly Tao. Each time he extracted the soul, it would be more profound than the previous time. It was Ning Fan's first time witnessing a soul extraction technique other than the soul extraction of the earth. Obviously, the soul extraction technique he used was just the lowest level. After extracting all the souls of the heavens and earth, Mo Luo's aura force nearly doubled. Under such an aura force, the injured Tai Su felt even more suffocated. This is more or less equivalent to 50% of my magic power when I was at my peak. You must die. Mo Luo's voice reverberated across heaven and earth. His voice echoed endlessly like thunder. The two worlds merged into one and were once again under his control. Even Lightning Emperor Tai Su did not have the qualifications to seize Mo Luo's world. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.